So it should be a little jump around the ballpark, and certainly with the Cardinals coming off an off day, and then you had the bases loaded situation. Pages grounds into a 4-6-3 double play. Ellie De La Cruz with an absolute cannon to first. That saved a run. He is so much fun to watch. But Jacob Junis also, the way that he was in the back of the game for the Cincinnati Reds. The Cardinals, since the All-Star game, with runners in scoring position, are now second worst in batting average at .229. Their slug is only .338 with runners in scoring position. If you take it even further, in August, they're hitting .139 with runners in scoring position. So if you look in and say, why is this team losing? That certainly is one factor. And then the starting pitching hasn't been great. And Gray strikes out 9 last night, which is good to see, but yet the home runs get him. And there was a couple of those home runs that came at bad times. And his last 13 starts, he's got 4 wins and an ERA near 5. It's 4.83. So that's just not going to cut it. And when you don't have great starting pitching and all of a sudden you're not coming through with runners in scoring position, you're probably not going to win many games.
Yeah, during his first time through the Reds batting order, I mean, he recorded 7 strikeouts and he looked in complete total control of the game. And then just like 2 pitches into that third inning quickly changed things for him.
I think it's about his sinker, trying to figure out what's going on. He's got nasty stuff. His sweeper, if you want to call it a slider, whatever you want to say, it's a breaking ball. It is nasty, and he gets really odd swings on that pitch. And so, to me, it's about what I'm seeing with the sinker, and that's a problem as you move forward, that he's got to be better than that. If he's the number one, which he is on this team, you need a win last night. You got to have a win. You only have, guys, 43 games left and you're 7.5 out. You need wins.
Yeah, and he'll have about 7 starts left. He's allowed 17 home runs. His career high is 19, so he'll most likely surpass his career high for home runs allowed. Here is Gray after allowing the 3 home runs last night.
But if you look at it, I feel like the games, it's just I have given up the 3-run homer a lot more than I'm used to doing. So I just gotta find a way to keep the ball in the ballpark. Everything else is fine. It's just I'm just giving up the big homer. Feels like on a semi-consistent basis.
You know, Abraham Lincoln's play was fine until the guy showed up.
Randy. No.
It was.
Randy.
Everything's fine until I allow the 3-run homer. Wonderful. Okay. You know what? A 3-run homer is pretty bad.
Yep.
It was pretty bad. By the way, somebody was aggressively cleaning their cleats in the background. That was a little distracting. But to his point, he has been giving up home runs on a pretty consistent basis. As you pointed out, 8 last year, which that was a contract year for him. And Randy, we were discussing this yesterday about contract years. They might fool you a little bit.
Yeah, this is the typical. Sonny Gray has played 12 years in the majors. This is more akin to what Sonny Gray is than last year was. This should not be unexpected by anybody. If you look at the guy's 162 game averages, the Cardinals are getting what they should have expected.
What's the interesting part about this, 10 of the 17 have come in 3 starts. So what unravels in those 3 starts to allow him to give up home runs? Is it pitches up? Is it pitches down? Is it sinker? I didn't think his sinker was great last night. I thought his sweeper was. And going back to the offense, I thought Abbott had success by keeping the ball up in the zone. Again, we saw that with Sean Manaea just a week ago. Same kind of thing, where he'd pitch a little low in the zone and then a 4-seamer up. 4-seamer was up last night, and the Cardinals had issues with the 4-seamer.
You remember watching Jim Deshaies pitch?
Yeah.
Jim Deshaies was that guy, and he killed the Cardinals. He's a Cubs analyst now, still with the Cubs, right?
Yeah.
And he would throw that high fastball, and the Cardinals had no chance against it.
Yeah.
When you bring up the high fastball that's killing the Cardinals, it just brought him to mind.
Brings up Sid Fernandez for me.
Yeah, there's another one.
You know, kind of just a slinger. Kept it low, then all of a sudden, up in the zone, and the guys just had trouble with it.
Now, one thing about last night, Dan, you mentioned the runners in scoring position issue. Ali Marmol last night took notice.
Punched out, 7, first time through, and it was electric. I mean, the ball was coming out of his hand extremely well. He was executing pitches, was doing what he wanted, and it it looked good. Steer, after the walk, took a really good swing on him, and the ball got out to left. And then ground ball through the 4-hole, the walk, and then another Steer homer. I mean, when you look at what else he did, I mean, something looked pretty good. But a couple good swings by Steer and De La Cruz, and you got 6 runs.
That sums it up, doesn't it?
It does.
It really does. Yeah, that's it's kind of like when that's the H ratio. Our buddy Howard Balzer, when the Rams would allow like 121 yards, and he said, "You take away that 84-yard touchdown run by Adrian Peterson,
Right.
They were pretty good."
I did think he was good in the first.
He was.
In the first time through.
Yeah, if he was only throwing through, had to go get one time through the order, he'd be terrific.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, still offensively, they do have to show up, and that's an ongoing story with this team.
Yeah.
So he's not wrong in that. The issues that they have with runners in scoring position, I don't know what else you can do because you keep trying to find sparks. You bring in Tommy Pham at the trade deadline. There was a little bit of a spark there, but they can't find any consistency offensively. Jordan Walker brought up yesterday, by the way, and I think he went 0 for 3 at the plate last night, but still... And I'm not putting it on Jordan Walker should be the savior of this team. My concern is that this is like musical chairs where you just keep moving people around. What else can you do at this point to find some sort of consistent spark offensively for this group?
Well, that was the spark yesterday was Walker. You know, you're trying to find something. And to me, it's a little bit of an indictment that you're just not getting any production out of Gorman and you're not getting anything out of Newbar. You know, so if you're not getting anything out of those two guys, you got to find some kind of spark.
More on the Cardinals' struggles with runners in scoring position.
That's the difference, and it changes the overall vibe and momentum. When you put yourself in a situation to score there, you load the bases with 1 out. During the stretch, we're gonna play some good teams, and we're gonna have to do a better job of executing with runners in scoring position. It's just going to be the key to our success moving forward. So we put ourselves in a situation where we could have changed the game a couple times and weren't able to.
Cardinals have played 119 games now. It is nice to know that moving forward, they're going to have to do a better job with runners in scoring position. I would suggest that maybe after 50 games, maybe after 75 games, we should have been working on that going forward because it's been an issue all year long.
And left-handed pitching. I can't figure out why lefties have had so much success. Now, part of that is that they have been thrust into the fact that they have a left-handed hitting outfield for the most part, especially now. But they sat the lefties last night. You had right-handers in the lineup, and it just didn't work out. And Randy, you're kind of giggling at me, aren't you? You're kind of smiling at me.
No, it's what you're saying is 100% right. And yes, left-handers have victimized this team, but. You know, we've watched a lot of left-handed hitters over the years that can hit lefty-handed pitching.
Yeah.
It's just because you're left-handed doesn't mean you shouldn't be able to hit left-handed pitching.
And that's the case this year with this team.
Yeah.
You know, those lefties don't have much of a shot against left-handed pitching. And so I don't know what you guys think, like with the Walker thing. If you had production, would you still bring him up? Probably not. I mean, if you were getting production from other players.
Are you suggesting that Matt Carpenter might not really be hurt?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. What was it? Would he have a strain in his side or something? Okay.
I thought it was a lower back strain.
Yeah. And we'll talk about J-Dub coming up at the bottom of the hour. Matt Carpenter was placed on the IL to bring Walker back yesterday. Tonight, another 5:40 game. Eric Fetty pitches against Hunter Green, who's 8-4 with a 2.90. Hunter's kind of feeling it now. He's taken some time to find his way in Major League Baseball, but he seems to have it going now. And the Cardinals need to get a W. And St. Louis City SC continuing Leagues Cup play tonight. Go St. Louis City SC.
And Matthew was saying they're playing out in Carson, out in California. Is that right? And a late start, 9:30 locally.
Club Mexico, right?
No. Club America.
Go ahead, Matthew.
Club America. See, I can't wait because actually Kevin Egan's the perfect person to explain this to Randy because Kevin Egan's from Dublin. So if anybody knows about maybe how you got to respect other countries that maybe you don't have the highest opinion of, I think Kevin might have a good experience in that. So we can figure out the whole issue with a guy who's probably had to deal with some intercontinental things before.
Just humor me here then.
Go for it.
If the United States would have played Mexico in the Olympic basketball game, would it have been the USA against America?
No, it would have been the USA versus Mexico. But this isn't the Club America is not the Mexican national team. It's a club.
Well, wouldn't the Mexican national team in the Olympics be
Mexico?
The same? Okay, so what is in America?
Because they're in America.
But isn't the basketball team in America?
Yeah, that's the Mexican national team.
I'm confused.
Well, I mean, Messi's not running around saying I love South America. He's running around pointing at an Argentinian flag.
Oh.
But it's still South America. It's still the Copa America.
Get the Copa America.
Are you following all this, Randall? I just lost about 2 minutes ago.
There's a lot of texters who also were like, we get to use America. You guys can screw off, and I respect the blatant nationalism.
You know what? We should really mess them up, and we should go in, and we should be Club New Mexico.
Oh.
How about that? They can be Club America. We'll be Club New Mexico. We'll just send a group. We'll just put together a team down in whatever.
This is like a
Let's give me a city in New Mexico.
I don't know.
Albuquerque.
Albuquerque.
There we go,
Okay, so
yeah.
put a team in Albuquerque. We'll go down there. We'll be Club New Mexico and play Club America.
This is like a rectangle.
bad.
This is like a rectangle and a rhombus. All right, every rectangle is a rhombus, but not every rhombus is a rectangle. All right.
Well, yeah, you lost me here. I wasn't there that day.
I wasn't there that day at school.
I always think when I need to simplify it for Randy, go to math and geometry.
Yeah, there we go. Coming up here on 101 ESPN, baseball will be back in the 2028 Olympics. How should Major League Baseball and the United States of America approach this? That's next on 101 ESPN. The most recent time I was in the market for a vehicle, I went to autoloanpro.com, and there are so many reasons to go to autoloanpro.com. Number one, if you're struggling with your credit rating, if you can make a payment, they can get you a loan and get you into a new vehicle. That makes a lot of difference. But if you are in a normal situation where you're just looking for a new car, think about this. You go to an auto dealer, and they might give you a couple of different options for a loan with maybe a couple of different ideas for length of loan and for the interest rate. Well, at Auto Loan Pro, they're working with over 50 different lenders to help you get the very best financing, the payment, and the interest rate that's best for you. And if you go to autoloanpro.com, first thing you want to do is check out their playbook. Second thing you want to do is take a look at their vehicles. They'll probably have a vehicle that fits your needs. I got my car from Auto Loan Pro. You'll love working with Auto Loan Pro. Great people that do great work for you, and they're going to work to make sure that you get the best rate possible. If you're financing a car, there's one thing to know. Choose the Auto Loan Pro at autoloanpro.com. softball return to the Olympics in 2028, and the baseball games will be played at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. And the question right now is, how does Major League Baseball approach it? And will they allow Major League players to participate? It makes sense for Major League Baseball to participate. Those Olympics start on July 14th of 2028 and run through basically the rest of the month, July 14th through 28th. Guys, in my mind, what Major League Baseball can do is not have an all-star game that year, not have an all-star break, use one of those weeks to play in the Olympics, and then just take another week off, whether it's cutting games or starting the season early or ending it late. I think that it'd be a great benefit to Major League Baseball for a lot of reasons to have their major leaguers playing. The Dominican team would be good. The Japanese team would be great. You'd have Yamamoto and Shohei available to play for the Japanese team. And like you have in the World Baseball Classic, you would get a real gauge as to what country is playing the best baseball. And with all due respect to the World Baseball Classic, the Olympics are just a way bigger stage globally than the WBC is.
It is. So the dates for the Summer Olympics of when it's happening will be July 14th through July 30th. So to your point, and Lance Lynn, he was on foul territory. He mentioned this yesterday because he was asked about baseball in the Olympics, and he thinks it's a great idea. And he said shortening the season by 10 games, but he also struggled to see how the owners would be on board with this, because then they would have to sign off, and Major League Baseball would have to sign off on allowing their players, especially their pitchers who have gone through a lot of injuries, as we know, how you have to be very careful with them actually signing off on allowing those players to do it, because there really is not a financial benefit to them playing in the game. And I'm talking about, like, they don't receive money if their player goes and plays in that game,
Maybe
correct?
in the short term. But if you want to globalize your sport, and Rob Manfred talks about that all the time, there's no better way to globalize it than having it shown all over the globe.
That's 100%. I have a bunch of thoughts on this, and I think the only way that it could work is, to your point, Randy, is that you either have to start it early or finish late, because owners they're not going to want their pocketbook cut, and neither are the players. You know, if you shorten the season to, let's say, 154 games, you know, that's what, 8 games that you would miss, and those are 8 paychecks that you would miss. Players aren't going to go for that. Now, the guys that maybe have made the 30, 35 million a year, or those guys that are making $10 million a year, they may say, yeah, I'm willing to take a cut. But from the union perspective, what do you do to the guy that's making the league minimum and trying to get to that level and all of a sudden misses 8 paychecks? I think that's one of the problems. Brooke, you mentioned injuries. I think that is a problem because guys are going to go 100%, and they should be at that point in the season ramped up and ready to go. So that, you know, that part is not a problem. But if they got hurt playing in the Olympics, I think owners would have a real problem with that.
Yeah, as they do with the World Baseball Classic. It's part and parcel of what you have to do. I mean, Mike Trout got hurt in a regular season game. It happens when you're playing baseball. Now, one other point here, if you don't want to shorten the season, let's just assume you don't do an all-star break, and you do cut 8 games. You cut 8 dates. But if you still have the current setup, and I think in 2028 you'll still have 6 5-team divisions, play 8 double headers, 4 home and 4 away, make Sundays in your 20.
That's a good way to do it.
24 weeks. Yeah. Play 8 day-night double headers on weekends.
Yeah, and the Players Association obviously would have to sign off on it, and you have to get a certain amount of games, and then you get a break, you get a day off, and that's just part of the collective bargaining agreement. But I don't know if it's amount of days that you can't play in a row, or if it's the amount of games that you can't play in a row.
Days.
I think it is too. That's a great way to do it. I mean, if you're trying to fit this in the schedule, and if the players are on board and this is something that they want, then you get their sign off. And to your point, man, it's 100% right. If you're looking to globalize your game, no better center stage to do it than the Olympics, especially in L.A.
Right. You're the Cardinals, okay, in 2028. You have 4 Saturdays where you're playing the Cubs, the Brewers, the Pirates, and the Reds on a Saturday home, and it's a day-night doubleheader. And there are Saturdays where you're playing at Pittsburgh, at Chicago, at Cincinnati, at Milwaukee, where you play a doubleheader. There's your 8 days right there.
I think that makes a lot of sense. The biggest thing, and I agree with you guys 100%, I would love to see them do it. I'm just struggling to see how the owners and Major League Baseball would completely sign off on it. But there's been a lot of players, including Bryce Harper, others who have spoke out and said that they would love for this to happen. And we know that it will be a part of the Olympics, of course, but will you see Major League Baseball players a part of the team? I think is the big question.
Right, and I think that the owners need to take a long approach. See, the owners do make money off of the World Baseball Classic, but they need to think... They need to play a long game. If they want what the NBA has now, where there were 62 NBA players playing in the Olympics, and there were 3 in 1992. If you want to get more players from Korea, South, if you want to get more players from Asia, if you want to get more players from Europe, then what you do is exactly what happened in 1992 with the Olympic basketball team. You show your sport to the world, and people will start playing it.
If I was an owner, and I'll never be one, but if I was, I'd be more concerned about the World Baseball Classic than I would be in terms of injuries than the Olympics.
Me too, because it's starting, right?
Yeah, and so you're cutting into a spring training, and these guys, because of their pride and being on Team USA, if you watch those games, or you look at those from the Dominican Republic or those in Mexico, I mean, they're airing it out. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's full tilt, man, trying to win those games. And I'm talking about mostly from a pitcher's perspective. I'd be more concerned about early in the season, World Baseball Classic, than I would be the Olympics. Now, somebody brings up a good point on the text line. If you're the Dodgers, and Ohtani gets hurt, what do you think? I mean, what do you do? And I understand that perspective, too. He's a $700 million investment. And if my guy's going to get hurt, I at least want him getting hurt in my uniform going for wins for my team. But if you're trying to grow the game and do these things over in London and go down to Mexico and have a game in Puerto Rico and making sure that you grow the game, there's no better spot to do, at least in my opinion, than the Olympics.
I agree. And I think that teams get scared of players getting hurt. Somebody got hurt in the WBC. I know Waino got hurt. He messed up his shoulder at the WBC.
And guys say they're kind of out of whack when they come out of that too.
Yeah. But it's if a player's going to get hurt in July, he's going to get hurt in July. Right? It's just going to happen. Normally the injuries that occur in baseball are a product of wear and tear. And you have 28, 29-man rosters with a 15-man, 16-man pitching staff and load it up. And if you want to, you could limit the innings for position players. There are a lot of different ways to go about this to protect players. But at the end of the day, we see guys all the time throwing less than 100 pitches that get hurt and have to have Tommy John surgery.
Yeah.
So it's injuries now are a part of baseball. That's the owner's fault. That's their fault that they have fostered this individual sport. It's not the fault of the players. It's not the fault of anybody else, but the owners who have taken it upon themselves essentially to make players disposable.
And I haven't heard a player yet. I'm sure maybe there are some out there who have brought up those concerns, but for the most part, I've seen nothing but support from the players. So if they're saying that and they are completely fine with putting themselves at risk in that situation, then I don't see why not in that situation.
And I would have to think, and you mentioned the name Bryce Harper, and Waino, he was dying to play with the USA on his chest. I would think just like basketball, players would love the idea of representing their country in the Olympics.
Do you feel, though, that basketball is more of a global game than baseball? So
right now it is,
yeah. I mean, some of these countries that don't really have that as a prominent sport, are you going to grow baseball by playing in this, and all of a sudden some of these countries say, we need to catch up with the United States and become a better baseball team? I don't know if you'd get the same response as that. I also wonder if this is a little recency bias just because of what we just saw with Steph Curry and Team USA in basketball. But I think if the players are on board, it would be incumbent on them to go to the owners, and it always seems to be contentious between the Players Association and the owners, but incumbent on them to say, we really want to do this. Can we make this work financially?
The comp to me is the 92 basketball dream team. That's what you're trying to foster here with a team in baseball in 28. And what you want to do is have your best of the best. Everybody on that team should be as close to a future Hall of Famer as you can get if you're the USA, and show the world how much fun it is. And how much fun would the world have watching Ellie De La Cruz play shortstop for Dominican? How much fun would they have watching Bryce Harper play for the United States? How much fun will they have watching Shohei play for Japan? Baseball could really be fun in the Olympics.
And it grows the game, as you guys were talking about. I think that's the biggest thing, because we have people from the text line saying, will it actually globalize the sport more? Because it's been around, obviously, for a long time. If it doesn't catch on, it doesn't catch on. But that's why I like your 1992 reference with the Dream Team, because that was a very talented team, of course. But look at the talent level that has grown over the years since that 1992 team, where they weren't facing really any NBA talent at that time. It was, what, 6 other players that were in the NBA? It was just 3?
3 other players in the entire world from the NBA were playing for other teams other than the U.S. in that Olympics.
And then fast forward to this year in the Olympics, look at how much talent there was across the world.
62 NBA players.
The other thing is hockey's made it work.
Yeah.
They made it work. Could it work for baseball? And here's the other part, too. Baseball players are creatures of habit. So they take, let's say, 3 weeks off. You'd almost have to have these guys playing something, simulated games, things like that, just to keep them sharp. So they might get the week-long break of what would be a normal all-star break. And then what I'm talking about is the guys that don't go to the Olympics. But you got to keep them sharp somehow.
Right.
That's another factor I think that is part of this as well.
Coming up, if major leaguers play in the 2028 Olympics, maybe Jordan Walker will represent the USA. How will he represent the Cardinals the rest of this season? That's next on 101 ESPN.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke here, and I want to tell you why I love the Missouri Athletic Club. It's because it really feels like I've joined a community. I love going over to the West location and hanging out, having lunch over there and getting a buffalo chicken wrap with their sweet potato fries. It's delicious. And then I also love going over there to work out with my personal trainer, Christine. She is amazing, and I've seen huge results. They always provide such a wonderful experience, and that's why I love my MAC.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Cardinals took on the Reds last night in Game 1 of a 3-game series and fell 6-1. Sonny Gray goes 5 innings, allows 5 hits, 6 earned runs, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts, but it's 3 home runs that are the big mark on his game from last night. Back in action tonight, Cardinals at 5:40 in Game 2. It'll be Eric Fetty for the Cardinals facing off against the righty for the Reds, Hunter Green. Green on the season is 8-4, and his ERA is down to 2.9. Also in action tonight is the St. Louis City SC as they face off against Club America in the round of 16 of the League's Cup. That is a 9:30 kickoff from California. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Really, my main focus was trying to keep my head still. I think that led to everything. So just to make sure my head was still when I was, loading, when I was trying to fire to get the ball. And I think the best way to do that was to preload my hands back and really kind of load with more of my legs. And I think, that kept my head more still and just helped me see the ball a little bit better.
The hands back, is that something new that was there?
Yeah, I noticed when I looked at video that my hands were moving a lot and getting into pretty inconsistent places. And it's really hard to hit like that, so I just go ahead and put them into where I wanted to fire from at the start and just go with my legs, and then my hands started getting more consistent, and I think that just really helped.
Cardinal outfielder Jordan Walker with Jimmy the Cat Hayes last night on Valley Sports after Walker was recalled from Memphis. We talked about the August that he had yesterday and wondered when the Cardinals would bring him up. I figured, guys, that regardless of what happened with him, that it'd be September, that he might be one of the 2 players that the Cardinals called up. But an injury to Matt Carpenter, a need on the part of the Cardinals, and all of a sudden Walker is back up in the Cardinal lineup last night against the Cincinnati Reds. The question I have is, if he's here and he is Jordan Walker, especially with where the Cardinals are right now in the standings, does it make sense to not play him every day? I look, his numbers in the minor leagues were better against right-handed pitchers than left. If I've got Jordan Walker on my team, I'm playing him every day.
You have to. And I know that there was a lot of concern yesterday because Katie Wu of The Athletic, and she wasn't the only one covering this, but she tweeted out, Walker will platoon against left-handed pitchers. He's in the lineup today against Andrew Abbott. As we know, of course, what happened there. He went 0 for 3 last night in that game. Now, when you hear platoon in that situation, I think that it sounds off a lot of alarms with people, because I agree with you guys. I think that he needs to be playing every single day. Now, I think a positive is they said the same thing about Tommy Pham, and he has been playing just about every single game, even against right-handed pitchers.
I thought they'd keep him down for the remainder of the year. I really did, but this is completely out of necessity in my mind. You had 43 games to go. He got hot. They told him, hey, if you produce, you'll come back up. So he earned the promotion. But I also think as a byproduct of that, it's a fact that you're just not getting a lot from your outfield production whatsoever. In all of the plate appearances by outfielders this season, only 12% have been taken by right-handed hitters. That's it. So you needed some kind of production from that side of the plate, and especially against lefties. I know, Randy, the numbers haven't been great, but maybe you catch fire with him. Now, the question would be, if he falters here down the stretch, how much does he play? Because I think you give him a little runway now to show what he can do and try to catch lightning in a bottle. But if it goes a week and he's like he was earlier in the season, then you have a real problem. Then you have a confidence problem maybe. Mm-hmm. Does he get out of whack mechanically, where apparently he's in a right place mechanically? And the thing I'm going to watch is he pulling off pitches? Now, I thought his first at-bat was tremendous last night. He fell behind 0-2. Then he wound up earning a walk, and he also hit a bullet to short that not many shortstops are going to make that play, and Ellie De La Cruz made a really good play. So you saw some good things last night, but I think you give him a little runway to show what he can do. And the other part of that is that, some guys are going to have to sit. And we talked about this earlier, since the All-Star game. They have the second worst average with runners in scoring position and the worst slugging percentage in the National League. You're running out of time here. So you need to find something, and that's probably Jordan Walker.
To your point, Dan, about giving a guy some runway. a guy who was the Rookie of the Year last year. Last year, going into the season, Corbin Carroll and Jordan Walker were both even at Vegas to be National League Rookie of the Year. Carroll won Rookie of the Year. This year, Carroll got off pre-All-Star break to a 213 start. His slash 213, 301, 334 for a 635 OPS. The Diamondbacks never sat him. The Diamondbacks stuck with him. They said, hey, we know that you're going to deal with adversity in your career. We aren't going to send you out because you faced a little adversity. We're going to keep playing you. Since the first half, when Carroll had the 635 OPS, he's got a 922 OPS, 247, 337, 584 slug since the All-Star game, 6 home runs, 4 triples, and 14 RBIs.
Yeah, and he has the contract to go with it, too, because they locked him in early, which is something that I would like to see the Cardinals explore. I'm not saying in this Walker situation, but maybe here down the line a little bit. I think with Jordan Walker, you do have to just don't send him back down. That's my concern. And with the Cardinals, where you said a lot of different things with him in this situation, we've seen over and over again, and we've talked about where you sent him down and you said you needed to see more production, and to the Cardinals' credit, he produced and they brought him up. And so now you have to stick with him through this adversity in this situation and give him enough opportunity. I know that things are very tough right now and you need to find some production, but you can't put it all on Jordan Walker. You have to let him kind of work through this since you brought him back up.
I think the one guy that I'd look at is maybe sending down is Nolan Gorman.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he's hurting the club at this point, what he's doing offensively, and I hate saying that, but he is, and so that would mean Brendan Donovan would be playing second base, and that would open up a spot in your outfield to allow Walker to play every day.
Yeah, and Newt has options, too. Gorman would be my first choice as well, but Newtbar hasn't been lighting it up either, and he, with the injury, I don't know if he ever really got ready fairly at this year. I want to play the first 10 seconds of the Walker Cup. I think all of us that are golfers can relate to this. Here's Walker again.
Really, my main focus was trying to keep my head still. I think that led to everything. So just make sure my head was still when I was, loading, when I was trying to fire to get the ball. And I think the best way to do that was to.
That's my story. If I keep my head still, I can hit the golf ball.
So you're swaying a little bit.
Yeah, right. And that's the same thing with Walker, isn't it? Keep your head still, stay back. It's a hard thing. It's easy to say, easy to concentrate on. Then you go, whoa, and you swing as hard as you can. But if he just takes a nice, relaxed swing, Nolan Gorman would be the same way, by the way. Keep his head in the spot. Arenado pulls off a lot, and he's been much better of late. Keeping your head still is a huge key.
Watch when, and I don't know if they talked about it last night, but I remember it was Eduardo Perez brought up this point, and he's right. And sometimes they do this with young hitters and hitters in general, but his feet. And he'll turn his foot inward to make then his body stay inward and his front shoulder stay inward, because middle outer half, he pulls off everything. And if he doesn't stay inside the ball, meaning keeping his hands where they're supposed to be, he's going to pull off, and you're going to see weak contact, or you're going to see a lot of strikeouts and swings and misses. So something to watch is he gets in the box, his body turning inward a little bit, and it starts with his front foot.
When McGuire works with people, and Newt had this during the offseason, he makes them wear these real heavy shoes so that it's harder to lift off the ground, because Big Mac says the ground is your friend. Keeping yourself planted to the ground is one of the big keys. And if you go back and watch his swings, and obviously you want to have that leg kick like Victor Scott has now, but use the ground as your friend.
Here's the other point, too, that I'd be concerned about if I'm in the Cardinals front office or coaching staff is I don't want him to get buried. I want him to play every day, and I've got to have success. Man, you're sitting there saying, please have success, because if he comes back up and doesn't have success mentally, where is he going into an off season? That would be of concern for me. I really think that that's an element of what's going on, but out of necessity, you need him to play and you need him to produce. And this is something we talked about in the beginning of the season. When you were looking at, we talk about it, the identity of this team, Walker was a big part of that. Walker was a guy that you said we have to count on if you're a Cardinal fan for them to have any success. And unfortunately for him, he's spent the better part of the season in the minor leagues. That's Dan. That's Brooke. I'm Randy. It's the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Coming up, we've got Take It or Leave It. Send your text in now, 314-399-9646. 314-ho. 399. Yo-ho. We all participated. We want you to participate in Tioli next on 101 ESPN.
The NFL season is under a month away, which means we're coming up on the best time of year again. That's right, football season is just around the corner, and the best way to play your daily fantasy is with our friends at Underdog Fantasy. Over 1 million fans got in the game last year by making their picks on Underdog, and you can join and compete against other underdogs to win up to 325 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on your players' favorite stats. Right now, you can get in with all the different ways to play Pick'em Champions, streaks, drafts. In fact, right now, you can get in and start your entries for the week 1 of the NFL season, including promos up there right now. I'm a little bit impatient, so I'm going to build a entry for today's game for the St. Louis Cardinals. You can also do anything else. Right now, they got golf that's live, everything that you can play. And I'm going to go with the Cardinals. I'm going to go with Alec Burleson higher than 0.5 home runs. I like that matchup he's got today against Green. I'm going to go Mason Wynn higher than a 1.5 total bases. And I love the shortstop play in this matchup, so we're going to go also higher on 1.5 total bases for Ellie De La Cruz. So it's going to be a high reward, but a high risk play as well. So we're going to go low entry, but we're looking at 13x our original entry on that today on the Cardinals and Reds play. It's Underdog Fantasy, making picks on Underdog so simple and even easier to get started. You just go to their mobile app or to underdogfantasy.com. You can sign up with your promo code ROCC, and Underdog is going to give you a highly discounted pick to use in your first pick of entry plus a deposit offer. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code ROCC. Claim your new customer offer of a gimme first pick and your deposit offer. Must be 18 plus in President's Day where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Consider your play call winner or gamer. Visit www.ncbgambling.org.
Take it or leave it.
Want to say something? Put it out there. If you like it, you can take it. If you don't, send it right back.
Get your text into 314-399-9646 and give us your take it or leave it.
Brought to you by Gloria Lou Realty. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com and start packing.
That's my final offer. Take it or leave it.
Brooke, Dan, Matthew, and Randy. Time for Tioli on 101 ESPN. Guys, since the 1st of July, the Los Angeles Dodgers are 18-16. The San Diego Padres are 21-11. The Padres have moved within 3.5 of the Dodgers in the NL West. Take it or leave it, the Padres win the NL West.
Ooh.
I'm going to leave that.
Yeah, I'm going to leave it.
You guys are taking the Diamondbacks, huh?
No, I'm not taking them either. What are they,
Hey,
4 back?
They've been heating up recently.
They're tied, yeah.
Yeah. I can't. I do give them a lot of credit for what they've been able to do, though.
They're hot. They got Joe Musgrove back last night.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing great, and the Dodgers' schedule might benefit them a little bit. I'm going to pick the Padres to win that division.
Oh, you really are.
I think the Padres are better. Their bullpen is better.
Their bullpen is great.
Yeah, they're going to get their starting rotation. Darvish apparently is working out, getting ready to come back. And They played exceptionally well since Xander Bogaerts returned. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Padres to win that division. Mike Schultz, Padres.
I was going to say, you believe in Schulte.
Mm-hmm.
Not a bad bet there. All right, take it or leave it. I don't know if you guys saw the news yesterday, but Hassan Reddick really doesn't want to play for the Jets. There's been a lot of issues going on, as we know, documented well throughout the summer. He even was hanging out in Japan during their mandatory team meetings and posting videos on social media of him walking around in Japan. But things just got worse. He tried to request a trade yesterday. Take it or leave it. Reddick will play for the Jets this season.
Brooke, I'm going to take that. The Jets issued a statement. That doesn't happen, saying we are not going to trade Hassan Reddick. We're going to continue to fine him, which they have to do under the NFL's collective bargaining agreement.
I think it's $1.5 million. He's already lost something like that.
$50,000 a day is what you lose. And those are not refundable. If a player comes back, you can't say, oh, yeah, we aren't going to fine you. You have to fine the player that much. So, yeah, I don't think that he'll wind up going anywhere. I think he does play for the Jets or nobody.
That whole situation is just so messy if you've been following behind the scenes with everything, where they had a deal in place. Now, I will say that if you are going to bring a player over via trade and all that different kind of stuff, you maybe should have things locked up, especially if he's looking for a new contract. And the Jets are saying, basically, through reporters, that, well, we had a verbal agreement. We offered him something. He didn't like it, and he turned it down. Always put pen to paper in those situations. You just can't take people's word on stuff.
But he's going to turn 30 soon. And I would think that the pressure is on him to come back, have another good year, and then he'd be a free agent next year.
Okay, this is specifically for this season, but after watching last night the Cardinals and the Reds, it's not Ohtani, it's not Betts, or any other player in the National League. Take it or leave it. Elly De La Cruz is the most exciting player right now, not only in the National League, but I'm going to say in baseball.
Operative word, exciting. I'm going to take it.
Not saying he is the best, although he's pretty darn good. Looks like he'll be 30-30. He's got 37 doubles as well. He's been really good against the Cardinals. It's part of this. 10 for 32. Made a really nice double play last night. Also good play on the ball that Jordan Walker hit. But, man, is this guy exciting to watch.
I'll take it if you add the personality flair to it, too. I mean, even watching him yesterday where he had, the shirt open with the chains, and he's a great interview, too. He's very willing and open to do interviews. You can see that personality shine through. So from that aspect of just really exciting, and baseball, to their credit, they have actually started to push him out more publicly, and he's enjoying every minute of it. I think that he's great for the game.
I'd say when Ohtani comes back and is pitching, might be the most exciting player, but he's only one way right now. So that's why I'm going with a two-way player.
Ohtani will be in town this weekend, by the way, and tickets are available. The rare opportunity to see him. One thing about De La Cruz and O'Neal Cruz, Elly De La Cruz is 6'5".
Yeah.
And O'Neal Cruz is 6'7". These are monstrous shortstops.
Isn't it incredible?
Yeah.
It used to be where Cal Ripken was playing short, and they thought, man, this guy's a monster.
He's too big.
He's too big to play shortstop. Yeah. Times have changed just a little bit.
Yeah, and not a shortstop, but Jordan Walker, he's 6'5", I believe.
6'6" and 260.
Yeah.
Looks like a defensive end.
He does.
Or a tight end.
He's huge.
Yeah. I hope the Reds and Bob Castellini, their owner, don't waste Elly De La Cruz like they kind of did with Joey Votto.
Just lock him up. Yeah. Now, they did lock up Votto, but Votto's... You could always make the case, like with Votto, did he sell himself short because he didn't sell out and try to hit home runs, and was just worried about on-base percentage, which was incredible. He was on base all the time. But if you're paying the guy that kind of money, you're looking for more production and more slug coming out of that portion of the lineup.
And more years than not, they didn't try to build around him.
Right.
They had a couple of nice teams. The Brandon Phillips teams Roland was there for a while with Votto, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But for more times than not, they didn't build around Votto. I hope they give Elly De La Cruz some teammates. Matthew, what do we have on the text line?
Take it or leave it. They should come up with a smaller, quicker version of baseball for the 2028 Olympics.
Things are moving pretty quick now.
Yeah, they are.
I don't know how you'd make it even quicker.
Yeah.
Reduce the clock even more?
Yeah. Now that would be something to watch.
Yeah. You can say smaller, so do you want like 300-foot fences so that it's just a softball game?
Yeah, you can't do that. You want to have the real game. You don't want to have 3-on-3 hockey here.
Agreed.
Now, I mean, when you put it that way, it doesn't sound terrible. Take it or leave it. The Cardinals need to put together an 8 to 10 game win streak if they're going to be a playoff team.
Totally take it.
Yeah, we'll take that.
Yeah. I'm going to take it too. And part of that winning streak needs to be head-to-head against Milwaukee.
Yeah. And as of, now I think with Milwaukee having 44 games left. I think it's 22-22 for Milwaukee. And the Cardinals, after losing last night, would need to go 30-13 to tie them if Milwaukee plays 500 ball. So kind of hard to play 30-13 ball because the Cardinals, well, it'd be nice to have a 3-game winning streak for the first time since, June?
I was going to say, when's the last time that they have strung together 3 wins?
Yeah, it hadn't been very often.
Ollie got ejected last night, and I felt like it was the Mother's Day ejection.
Yeah.
Just trying to get his team going. Now, the strike zone was debatable. Debatable, really, on both sides. But I sensed a ton of frustration last night from him.
Yeah.
That was a winnable game, and with what you did early in the game, the second and the third, it was like he was trying to jumpstart his team.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it. A playoff team would have swept this Red squad. Could have said that about the White Sox a month ago, too.
Rockies, too. When they had the 4, it's they've had some rough goes against lesser teams. I don't know if they would have swept, but you certainly take 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3.
If you just take 2 out of 3 all year long, play 667 ball, you're good.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Because the issue is always, do mediocre teams sweep the Baltimore Orioles?
Well, they did.
Well, they did, but you're not supposed to.
Right. It's hard to get sweeps, but the Cardinals did win 17 in a row 3 years ago.
Take it or leave it. After winning their first 2 games of the season, Mizzou jumps into the top 10.
Take it.
Ooh.
Yeah,
well,
you'll see some teams falter, I bet. Top 10 teams maybe pick up a loss.
First 4 games of the season, so they're playing Murray State and, first 2 games.
He said after the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
The first 2 weeks. And they'll jump up into the top 10.
Who cares?
What's the big kickoff game this year? Do we know? Usually, last year was Florida State and LSU, I think. And usually there's 2, top 25 teams for sure.
Yep.
But sometimes it's 2 top 10 teams, and then one of those teams loses, and then Mizzou just moves on up.
Florida State and Georgia Tech, Saturday, August 24th
Does
from
Alabama
Dublin,
play
Ireland.
Michigan? Alabama and Michigan, I think, to start the season.
That's what I thought, too.
Yeah.
I believe that's all.
August 24th.
I was just thinking sometimes the quality of the opponent factors into that, too.
Yes,
And
Georgia-
Mizzou's not playing any big wigs in the first 2 games.
So, week 0 is Florida State, Georgia Tech, August 24th. Week 1 is Georgia, Clemson, number 1 versus number 14 on August 31st. And then you also get, in week 1, on the 31st, you also get number 8, Penn State in action, number 7, Notre Dame facing off against number 20, Texas A&M, and number 13, LSU facing off against number 23, USC. From Las Vegas.
How about number 22, Kansas, hosting Lindenwood
Yes, of course.
in week 1?
Oh.
Also the U versus Miami.
Go Lions. I think we got a helmet.
Or U versus
back there.
Florida.
Oh, yeah. There's a Lindenwood helmet right behind Brooke if you're watching on the YouTube. Go Lions.
There's some talk that we're all going to get together on the 21st.
Yeah, we are. It's going to be like the Lindenwood Mafia getting back together.
Media guys coming together and doing a football game together.
Sometimes when the Mafia gets together, it's not a good thing. This will be a good thing.
This would be a good thing.
Yeah.
You guys are the good guys.
People die. Yeah, we're the good guys.
We're not looking to take out any kneecaps or anything like that.
Be like an Italian restaurant scene.
This is interesting. Take it or leave it. It's more likely the Cardinals finish 10 games under 500 than 10 games over.
I'll take that.
So you're more likely to be 71 and 91 than 91 and 71.
Yeah, this schedule is tough over the course of the next month. It's tough.
I don't think they go to 10 games below, but I think they stay right at 500.
Yeah.
I don't see them going 10 games above, 10 games below, but just kind of mediocrity where they're at right now.
And the schedule after this stretch of the next 3 weeks softens up substantially in September. So they are an average team. They really are. And what we thought at the beginning of the season, what I thought was that they would be a 500 team. I thought maybe 82, 83 if they really went well. And I could see them still doing that. But
And they've got 13 of 16 at home in the middle of September. So if you're hanging around, that's something to look at, too.
Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you, Randy.
And thank you very much for your texts. We do appreciate them. Coming up, Lance Lynn was on Foul Territory yesterday. He always has something interesting to say. He's next on 101 ESPN.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke here, and this year we decided it was time to make a major upgrade to our home by updating our bathroom. We have this house in U City that we absolutely love. It's over 100 years old, and we love it, but we never exactly loved our main bathroom. So we decided to reach out to one of our great sponsors here of 101 ESPN, and that is E&B Granite. E&B Granite's team visited our house for a free consultation, and they came up with a vision of how to really transform our bathroom. My favorite part of working with E&B Granite was stopping by their amazing showroom to explore their large selection of in-stock custom countertops, all of their cabinet options. It was so much fun working with Jen over there. She had so many great ideas for us that really fit within our budget. And that's what they've been doing there at E&B Granite for over 20 years, turning visions into realities. So schedule your free consultation by calling this number, 314-645-9300, or go online at embgranite.com, or stop by their amazing showroom today and make sure you mention that I sent you.
What are you pitching? Forget those other guys. Are you done for the year or what? Let's go.
I don't think so. So I got a bullpen today. So we're getting back on the mound intensity-wise, seeing where we're at. And then hopefully that leads to a better idea when I can be back, hopefully within the next time or two through the rotation. I can't come off till Friday. So I got a few more days here that I have to wait it out for sure.
I mean, come on now. Let's go. I mean, you're getting soft in your old age. I don't understand.
I know the 15-day IL, man. You got to wait it out all 15 days at least, they said.
That's Cardinal right-hander Lance Lynn, who has a knee issue. He's also 6'5" and 280. So you would think that when you land on your knees and the knees take the pounding that his have taken over the years, that it's going to have an effect. It'll be good for the Cardinals to have another healthy body in the rotation. But I'm intrigued to see what they do with the addition of Eric Fetty. So you've got Fetty, you've got Gray, you've got Michaelis, right? You'll have Lance Lynn back, and then, of course, Kyle Gibson and Palante. And Steven Matz had a rehab start yesterday, too, through 66 pitches and 4 innings. So at some point, the Cardinals are going to have healthy pitchers. Do they bring the injured guys back and put them right back in the rotation?
With Steven Matz, I don't think you can at this point. I think the experiment is done with Steven Matz.
I thought 66 pitches were really interesting, though.
I did, too.
They're trying to stretch him out to be a starter again. I think they are. But at this point, with what you've seen with Steven Matz, his injury history, and we even saw last year when he came out of the pen, I think he had a pretty good ERA. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was a pretty good ERA that he had coming out of the pen. I liked him in that situation. I just am concerned about throwing him back into the starting rotation. And you do have Andre Palante, who's done pretty well. And do you keep him in the starting rotation, or is he the odd man out again?
I think because of his flexibility, he'd be the odd man out, even though I wouldn't want to see it.
Yeah.
I'd rather see Palante in the starting rotation. Saturday night, he was okay against Kansas City. He runs into issues with walks sometimes. Obviously, he has issues against right-handers. He needs to bear that sinker into a righty. But I'm with Randy here. I found it really interesting. Like, if you're going to get anything out of Matz, he probably should be here and maybe in your bullpen. A fresh arm, hasn't pitched all that much this year. But if you're stretching him out, it would seem that he's going into the starting rotation. I don't know. I mean, that to me is a great question, what they do moving forward.
And I think one of the things the Cardinals have to determine, and they don't have to make this determination now because they're still theoretically in the wild card hunt. But at some point, they're going to have to determine, you know what, it's not happening for us in 2024. And we need to find out if Palante, over the course of September, is capable of being a starter. Do we choose Palante or Gibson/Lynn? Do we choose Matz or Gibson/Lynn? I think they have to make determinations as to who they keep and who they plan on being in the rotation in 2025.
You have to at this point, because who will be a part of your starting rotation next year? You have Sonny Gray, who, by the way, his price goes up, especially for next year with that contract kicking in. And you have Miles Michaelis is back for next year. Your other options are, who else am I missing? Oh, Eric Fetty is a part of your starting rotation as well. Who else will be a part of the starting rotation moving forward? Do you bring back Kyle Gibson? Do you bring back Lance Lynn? Or do you let Andre Palante stay in that spot in the starting rotation?
Are you guys absolutely locked in and you don't even anticipate making any transactions during the offseason? Because you can lock yourself in if you want with Gray, Fetty, Michaelis, and Palante. You can lock in with those four and say, okay, I'm only going to get a couple more starters to battle for the fifth spot next year, and one of them is going to be Steven Matz.
And McGreevy,
and Zach Thompson, maybe.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think they're going to have some options, and they've spent so much money on their rotation, with this season. So it does lend itself to say, you know what, we have some guys coming back. I wonder what the appetite would be for Matz on the open market. He's making $11 million. Not that much for a starter. If you wanted to move him, you probably could. He's a lefty. That's another thing, and teams are looking for left-handers too.
Another reason to pitch him in September.
Find out.
Yeah.
Showcase him.
Yeah. Right. Another guy, by the way, Ken Rosenthal wrote this morning that the Rangers may purge like the Angels did last year, might place a bunch of pitchers on waivers, and Nathan Eovaldi is right next to a vesting option for next year at $20 million. If you're the Cardinals and Nathan Eovaldi comes available on waivers, doesn't matter what the price might be, you have to get him, don't you?
I would look at that, and I also think league-wide, I think we're going to see more movement with this waiver wire because at the trade deadline, there were teams that legitimately felt that they were in it. Now you're a month away from that. You've moved on. And there are teams that are going to look at it and go, you know what, it's just not going to happen.
Rangers 3-9 since the break, since the deadline.
You always put all your players going through waivers, too. You just let them go and see what happens. And I bet we see that there's more movement at the waiver wire, at least in my opinion, than we saw at the trade deadline. Well, not the trade deadline, but you're going to see more movement than you've seen in the past with the waiver wire.
And we'll see Eric Fetty again tonight. And that's why that deal, I liked it so much for many different reasons. But bringing him in, that's pretty much a bargain for next season that you have for your starting rotation that you were able to pull off.
Very reasonable. And going back to the original point, I'm not sure what they do. Does Matz go to your bullpen? Do you approach Lance Lynn about doing this? Does Palante go back to the bullpen, which I think would be the logical choice, just because he's been there, done that? I don't think Lynn would go to the bullpen. But these are just some of the things that I'm sure they're being talked about, or at least on the table right now. You wait until you get there, and then these decisions seem to have a way of working themselves out. But the most interesting point to me is seeing Matz being stretched out as a starter and how that fits in moving forward.
And do they, with their self-imposed financial limitations, do they say, okay, we've got an $11 million starter, so we've got our rotation. Everybody we have is under contract. We've got Gray, we've got Fetty, we've got Palante, we've got Michaelis, we've got Matz, we've got 5 guys under contract for 2025. That would be awful, but I could see him doing it.
And you seem to be somewhat covered with McGreevy and maybe some others that are moving their way up. Who was the kid that we had on, the lefty from
Quinn Matthews?
Quinn Matthews is moving up. That's another. Does Zach Thompson find something that's been missing this year? Maybe. I mean, these are guys that at least would compete and give you some cushion moving forward next year.
By the way, here's the Ken Rosenthal note about the Rangers. Quote from The Athletic this morning, clubs would save only about 1/6 of players' remaining salaries in 2024 if they dumped them before the August 31st deadline for playoff eligibility. But say the Rangers succeeded in purging 4 potential free agent lefties, lefty Andrew Heaney and righty relievers David Robertson, Kirby Yates, and Jose Leclerc. They would pocket almost $6 million. It's possible that not all those pitchers would be claimed. Righty Nathan Eovaldi, who has a 3.05 ERA and 79 2/3 postseason innings, almost certainly would be. And the Rangers could take a chance by exposing him to waivers as well. Eovaldi would be owed about $2.7 million August 31st. He needs to pitch only 36 more innings to vest a $20 million player option for 2025, but likely could land a larger guarantee as a free agent. So if you're the Cardinals, as an example, and the Cardinals might be the perfect team because of where they are record-wise, what you do is you claim him and then pitch him 36 innings, and you get a number 1 starter for $20 million.
Yeah. I'd be all over that if I was the Cardinals. I would be all over it. Now, we are getting a lot of texts about Miles Michaelis coming in. Do you guys have any concerns about him? Because obviously they still were able to win that game the other day, but he did struggle some, and he has kind of been in a little bit of a tailspin. He has a 7.11 ERA over his last 5 starts. Is there anything that you guys are seeing there that concerns you?
Well, I mean, the numbers concern me. Do I see the tailspin? Yeah, over 7 ERA in his last 5. That's not good. To me, he's been not as sharp this year, and it's probably a byproduct of getting older. Innings are piling up, but his breaking ball has got a big hump in it. And so I'm not a pitching coach, but I've watched a lot of baseball. He's just not nearly as sharp as he was a couple of years ago. And his all-star season clearly was very, very good. But his stuff is just not where it's been in years past.
I just think Miles Michaelis is a back-of-the-rotation guy.
I do too.
Takes the ball, gives you innings. And let me give you the number here for him. What you want is a guy that takes the ball, gives you innings, and in the games that he pitches, he gives you a chance to win the game. And Michaelis this year, in the games that he has started, let me get this statistic for you. He's given the Cardinals, he's had a lot of quality starts. I think he's like in the top 11 in Major League Baseball in the number of quality starts he's delivered. And in his games, Cardinals are 12-12 in the games he started. That's a number 5 starter for me. And so he is what he is.
Well, in the starting rotation, it seems like you kind of have a lot of back of the rotation guys.
Yeah, you do. That's the problem. That's why if you pick up Eovaldi, then you've got a guy, and Eovaldi is not a 200-inning starter, but Eovaldi is a guy who starts game 1 of a playoff series for you.
Yeah, not many 200-inning guys out there right? So you want somebody that you can rely on. He and Gray going 1 and 2. And I know a couple years ago, and I'm sure it happened again this year, there was a lot of interest from the Cardinals' perspective with Nathan Eovaldi. So it does make some sense.
Yeah, so if he would be waived, and that's not a guarantee. That's just a speculation on the part of Ken Rosenthal. But that's something that the Cardinals should absolutely take a look at.
Another name, too, Tink Hence.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
He's coming, too.
Yep. That's today's Fresh Take. Coming up, we're going to talk to MLS 360 host Kevin Egan about St. Louis City SC taking on Club America tonight in Carson, California. That's next on 101 ESPN. Tell you something I can't stand, and that's a shower that doesn't heat up. Cold showers for me are the worst. And homes in St. Louis commonly face water heater issues like sediment buildup, odd sounds, insufficient hot water, and leaks. No matter what issue you may be experiencing, Hoffman Brothers can quickly diagnose and resolve the problem so that you have your hot water back. Schedule today at HoffmanBros.com or call or text 314-664-3011 to get your water heater either fixed or replaced by Hoffman Brothers. Hoffman Brothers is amazing, and they are proud to be a Mitsubishi Electric elite contractor, and they can do so much more than just heating, cooling, or even water heaters. By neglecting your home drain systems over time, there can be accumulated debris and cause water to drain slowly or complete blockages. Getting your sewer lines and drains checked regularly is important, and Hoffman Brothers offers sewer and drain services from sewer repairs, drain cleaning, full sewer line replacements. Get it all at Hoffman Brothers. Again, 314-664-3011 or at HoffmanBros.com. Grimsley, Danny Mac, Randy Carricker. It's the opening drive on 101 ESPN in St. Louis. St. Louis City SC is in Southern California tonight. They're in Carson taking on Club America as the League's Cup round of 16 continues. And joining us from MLS 360 on Apple Plus is Kevin Egan. Kevin, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, folks. I'm wonderful, thanks. Big game tonight.
It is a big one, and I want to start with this because Matthew Rocc, our producer, has insufficiently tried to explain this to me. Why is St. Louis City SC playing a team from Mexico called Club America?
So it's called the League's Cup. It's the second year of the League's Cup this year, which is a 47-team club World Cup-style format. And I mean, the prizes financially in terms of the Club World Cup itself, CONCACAF Champions Cup as well, it's very important. And I think St. Louis have done a wonderful job of turning around what has been a really poor season into some momentum here with some new signings, new coach, and now in the League's Cup, you have a chance to get behind this team and potentially not only take home some silverware, but get those extra advantages as well. But tonight, St. Louis are up against maybe the best side in the continent right now. Club America will be absolute favourites tonight to go and win this game. It would be a real upset if St. Louis could go and do it, but honestly, with these new signings and the way the team is playing, I wouldn't rule it out.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the new signings. You have Toyshirt, Hartle, and Bescher all coming in, and they've all scored twice since they've joined the team. How much has this new look attack changed how you view City SC down the stretch run?
Well, they weren't conditioned by the poor start to the season this year, so they come in and they're loving life in Major League Soccer and in St. Louis. Clearly targeted signings by Lutz Van and Steele. And I think they've worked so far. And like anything, it's just they've brought new blood to what had been a fairly stagnant locker room this season. Out goes Bradley Carnell. Obviously, the team was best in the West last year. Came out of the gate strong in the first season in Major League Soccer. But then it stagnated. And some new signings were needed. But what they've brought is just this fresh impetus, this fresh lease on life, and it's just lovely to see. Like Betcher, the way he took his goal against Portland was top class, and now Hartel clearly is a very talented player. Same with Toyshirt too, and I just think they're a fun team again right now. So for fans of St. Louis listening here in their cars or at work or at home, you can be sure that this team is going to be a lot of fun down the stretch in Major League Soccer. But now, because of the season last year, this is a crucial point I'll make here, that Club America, given that they're back-to-back champions in Liga MX, have hosting rights tonight. So the hosting rights for them, because it's in America, the tournament is in Southern California. So the stadium's going to look yellow tonight. They're going to have fans everywhere. It's going to be a hostile atmosphere in favor of Club America. But if St. Louis can somehow win this game tonight, then St. Louis will have hosting advantage for the rest of this side of the bracket, meaning St. Louis could get to a final and potentially even host the final at City Park, which would be an enormous accomplishment. And that's because of last year's achievement, finishing best in the West.
Kevin, is the change in expectations for this offense all on the new players, which you mentioned, or have you seen a change in how John Hackworth is scheming up this system since he took over at the start of July?
I think it's a lot to do with Hackworth, but I actually think it's a lot to do with Edward Leuven. Edu Leuven is, for me, one of the best midfielders in Major League Soccer. A fly-under-the-radar type of guy. He doesn't make it about himself. He's not, overly exuberant with the media. And he goes in and just does his job, but he's so clean on the ball. And when he plays in that deeper line position and allows the front four do their thing, he's that conductor of the orchestra, if you like. He's the one who can find those passes and those seams and make things happen for St. Louis. So, yeah, you add the new players, as touched on, the 3 new guys, Torreson there as well in the starting lineup against Portland. And while João Klaus is out, you're not really missing him right now. So I think the key for me has been Edu Leuven.
MLS 360 host Kevin Egan with us on 101 ESPN. Kevin, as it turns out, was last year, you mentioned best in the West for St. Louis City SC. Was last year kind of a mirage? Was last year kind of a miracle that they were able to finish best in the West?
I think so, a little bit, yeah. All the advanced data would tell you that St. Louis were out-kicking their coverage a little bit. But in saying that, you make your own luck in this game and in every sport. So credit to them, but everything seemed to click last year. Whereas then, you lose Klaus to injury, you lose Edu Leuven to injury, and then he's had a really unfortunate personal matter with his wife and cancer. And we certainly wish him the best with that ongoing battle. And I think they've had so much to deal with this year. Results didn't go Bradley Carnell's way. He was let go. It's just been a rocky second season. But I've been to City Park many times. It's one of the best venues in Major League Soccer for atmosphere. St. Louis fans absolutely bring it each and every time. And if the team can get over the line against Club America and take hosting advantage, all of a sudden the word will get out around St. Louis. It's a major tournament to go and win. The tournament that Messi became the most decorated player on the planet last year when he won. And I just feel that this could bring in this wave of momentum and enthusiasm toward the team again.
What have you seen with Hackworth and what he's been able to do this season after taking over?
I think the key with John is man management right now. I don't think he's changing anything like that's that obvious to me when I watch the team. But man management, at the back, you're dealing with fairly young and inexperienced players that have really stepped up. Berkey is the best, I would say, the best goalkeeper in Major League Soccer, and that's a big compliment given that Hugo Lloris, the World Cup champion, is in the league. But I think it's man management and saying, hey, I believe in you, let's bring it. And things had been a little bit stagnant of late, as mentioned. And sometimes that fresh voice in a locker room can mean so much.
Interesting here. I want to ask you about it, Kevin, but considering the success of new players like Toyshirt and Beshard and others, should Klaus's minutes be a little smaller when he comes back from injuries? At times been a very popular player here in St. Louis, but would you cut some of those minutes?
No, I think now that he has new pieces around him, to be honest, I think that's going to help him more than anything. For me, the most talented striker in the roster is absolutely João Klaus. And that's not changing anytime soon, with all due respect to Betcher. I think he's an absolute beast on his day. And with Edu Leuven going out, Vasilev has had injuries as well. Klaus has struggled, but the roster hasn't exactly been great around him. Now you add Hartel and you add Toyshirt and these guys around him, and I think Klaus will be absolutely buzzing to get back fit and healthy and get back in this team with these new players that can really complement his game.
Kevin Egan, last thing from me. The supporters section here in St. Louis has not been very supportive of the League's Cup. What do you like about the League's Cup? What makes it attractive for you?
I think it's the flavour and the colour and everything that's added with the introduction of Liga MX's teams. The bragging rights is enormous. If you think about the fact that last year, Cruz Azul are considered what they call a grande in Liga MX. They're one of the top 4 teams. Last year, Tuca Ferretti, who's a famous coach in that region, was fired after the League's Cup. They're taking it very seriously down in Mexico in terms of winning it, getting the bragging rights, showing Major League Soccer that Liga MX, as they call it there, Liga MX, is far superior to Major League Soccer. But that hasn't been the case. Last year, if it's a podium, if we're talking Olympics, Major League Soccer was gold, silver, and bronze. 1, 2, 3. Monterrey finished 4th. This year, Monterrey, another massive club in Mexico, were knocked out in the group stages. They're beaten by Austin. And their coach, Tano Ortiz, was fired as soon as he got home to Mexico. So they're taking it very seriously. the tournament is, I feel, is heating up as it's going. And last year, the tournament in its inaugural season had this wave of momentum and enthusiasm with Lionel Messi. And arriving on the scene, making his debut in this tournament for Miami, going on to win it. And it was an incredible story throughout. But there were so many other storylines that were probably in the shadow because of Messi that I think now we get to shine a light on this year. And look, I understand the frustrations with maybe the Open Cup not being as significant to a lot of teams in Major League Soccer this year. But the Leagues Cup, I feel it's just there's something special about it when it gets going. And it is only year 2, and it's going to take time for it to truly grow and become a household name for soccer fans. But I have to say I'm thoroughly enjoying it alongside my colleagues this year.
So, Kevin, let's focus again on tonight. My final question for you. Give me your keys to the game. What is going to be a key or keys to the game for City, since we're in St. Louis, to try to win this game?
So Club America find a way of stretching the field really, really well. What I mean by that is just they'll stay wide, they'll spring counterattacks. I think defensive organization and leadership from, I'm looking at Durkin and Leuven are 2 guys for me that are absolutely crucial tonight. Shielding that back four, making sure they're communicative and just organised throughout, because it's going to be an onslaught of attack after attack from Club America. And you keep it to 0-0 at halftime and keep a clean sheet until the break, the confidence will start to grow. And with the new attacking pieces for St. Louis, I wouldn't be surprised if they get at least a goal or 2 tonight in transition. And then let's see if America can respond.
Kevin Egan, thanks so much. We love what you do at MLS 360, and we'll be tuned in tonight, and we'll have you on again soon. We love having you on.
I appreciate that. Take care. All the best, guys.
Take care. Kevin Egan with us from MLS 360 here on 101 ESPN. It's St. Louis City SC from America taking on Club America tonight.
You still can't get this. You still haven't just... It just hasn't resonated with you. Or it has, and you just don't want to recognize it.
They're the best team in the continent.
Yeah, I think so.
Randy, they're the best team on the continent. So they are Club America.
On the whole continent.
Whole continent.
North and South America.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. They're the best team?
You in or you out?
So we have to be Club USA then.
You're out.
We aren't America.
I don't think he's going to be convinced.
I don't think so
USA
either.
would be Columbus. They're the champions right now.
Okay.
Sorry.
Good.
I like having Kevin on, by the way.
He's great.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
By the way, Canada gets nothing here. Club Canada's just...
How do you feel if you're Canada and you have your own league, but your country has teams in the MLS? Like Canada has its own soccer league, but the Whitecaps and Montreal play in the MLS.
Well, do you want to be real?
Just constantly getting cucked by the United States. It's hilarious.
The question is, do you want to be real or not? Because you aren't real unless you're playing in America.
Don't we have the fight coming up?
The fight is coming up next. Yeah. We probably need a fighter. And you can text in 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. If you'd like to participate in the fight, text that number with your name and the word fight. Maybe Matthew will pick you to fight me next on 101 ESPN. Mentality is a great local healthcare facility. It is specifically dedicated to helping men feel and perform their very best. Guys, we have testosterone, and we have a lot of it when we're in our teens and in our 20s. But after our 30th birthday, our testosterone level drops. And when your testosterone level drops, well, your energy drops, your motivation drops, your moodiness and irritability and impatience, that increases. Well, there is a way to get rid of the moodiness and increase your energy. And that's by going to Mentality. Get started now at lowtusa.com. Set up an appointment to head into one of their clinics in Chesterfield or in South County, and they're going to test your testosterone level and get it back to that level that it was at when you were in your 20s. Now, your primary doctor might say, hey, your testosterone level's in the normal level, but that's a wide level of normal. And at Mentality, they get it up to the upper levels of normal that you enjoyed in your 20s and get you back to feeling the way that you used to feel. At Mentality, they have an FDA-approved testosterone supplemental treatment that'll work great for you. And they're going to work with your insurance company to make sure that you pay as little out-of-pocket expenses as possible. Get to Mentality. Get started now at lowtusa.com.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Cardinals yesterday fall to the Reds 6-1 in their opening game of the series. They'll try to go for a win tonight with a 5:40 first pitch. It'll be Eric Fetty for the Cardinals. He's 8-5 on the season with a 3.28 ERA. He faces off against the righty for the Reds, Hunter Green. Green on the season, 8-4 with a 2.9 ERA. You want to hear more Cardinals talk? Stay tuned as John Rooney will join the broadcast coming up at 8:45. Also coming up tonight, it's St. Louis City SC in action in the round of 16 in the Leagues Cup, facing off against Club America. You want to hear more talk from there? You can listen to our Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers podcast later today as they talked it over with MLS 360 host Kevin Egan. That is your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Welcome back to the opening drive. Brooke, Dan, and Randy here, and it is time for the fight. And our fighter today is Gordon. Gordon, how are you doing this morning?
Doing good. How you guys doing?
We're doing pretty good. Oh, sorry, I couldn't hear you. Cut out a little bit at the end there.
But thank you for having me.
Yeah, is this your first time facing Randy in the fight?
First time.
A lot of nerves. A lot of nerves.
A lot of nerves, Randy.
I'm Dan. Randy's out. He's out in the hallway. I just want to make sure you knew that we weren't cheating.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Okay.
You ready for question number 1, Gordon?
Let's do it.
Okay. While most well known for his number 27 jersey as a St. Louis Cardinal, which jersey number did Scott Rowland wear in his first season in St. Louis in 2002? Was it 9, 16, or 33?
Give me number 9. Final answer.
All right. Only 2 lefty QBs have won the Super Bowl as the starter. Steve Young is the easy one, but who was the first to do it? Kenny Stabler, Brian Griese, or Bart Starr?
Never heard of any of those. Let's go with Bart Starr.
Okay.
Final.
All right.
On this day in Cardinals history, in 1979, the base burglar Lou Rocc joined the 3,000 hit club by going 2 for 2 against which NL rival? Was it the Braves, the Cubs, or the Brewers?
I think I watched that game. Give me the Cubs.
Okay, according to Baseball Reference, there are 3 players in Major League Baseball history to be named to 20 or more All-Star Game rosters. Mays and Stan the Man are tied at 20, but who is the all-time leader with 21? Was it Carl Yastrzemski, Cal Ripken Jr., or Hank Aaron?
Give me Hank Aaron.
All right, let me go grab a Randall.
How are you feeling, Gordon?
Terrible.
Why? What did you feel terrible about?
Just a lot of guessing.
Well, sometimes guessing works out. Here comes Randy in right now.
Thank you.
Trotting in. No grapes in sight. Demolished.
It might be good. Oh, they're already gone.
Yeah, they're already gone. He came in with a big bag of grapes yesterday, straight out of the grocery store, Dan and Gordon.
Oh, my.
And it was just a Ziploc bag today.
Yep. From the big bag into
From the bag. You downsized.
Yeah, I did.
Say hi to Gordon, Randy.
Gordon, good morning. How you doing?
Fantastic, Randy. Good to hear you.
Hey, thank you very much for listening. Thanks for playing. We do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Ready for question 1?
Ready.
All right. While most well known for his number 27 jersey as a St. Louis Cardinal, which jersey number did Scott Rowland wear in his first season in St. Louis in 2002?
Scott Rowland, when he got traded here in 2002. I thought he replaced Placido Polanco and wore 27. I'm going to go with 16, though. I'm going to say he was 16. That's right, 16. That just had to pop in your mind a little bit.
You're a big jersey number guy.
Yeah, I am a jersey number guy, yeah.
How do you remember that one?
Albert went from 68 to 32, and then he was 32 when Walt walked down, and Buddy Bates was the equipment manager at the time, said, hey, buddy, I think this guy's going to be pretty good. You got to give him a better number than that. And so that's how Albert wound up with number 5. Yeah, I just remember that kind of stuff.
Great for trivia.
It is, yeah.
You ready for the next one?
Ready, sir.
Only 2 lefty QBs have won the Super Bowl as the starter. Steve Young, that's the easy one.
Uh-huh.
But who was the first to do it?
First to do it. Ken Stabler, 1977, right?
The Raiders.
Yeah.
I'm going to get into these questions. I'm going to read them with some passion.
I like it.
I like the passion.
Ready for question number 3?
I am.
On this day in Cardinals history in 1979, the base burglar Lou Rocc joined the 3,000 hit club by going 2 for 2 against which NL rival?
Dennis Lamp.
Off his leg.
Yeah, over to first base, yeah. Dennis Lamp of the Cubs.
Yeah, he played for the Montreal Expos. Go ahead and say Montreal Expos.
Yeah.
No, don't say Montreal Expos.
I'm going to say Dennis Lamp of the Cubs off of his knee with this 3,000th hit. Yeah, 1979.
All right. That's a layup.
It is. 1974. I spent, and I've told people this, and my parents must have, I don't know if they liked me or hated me. I had a gray Brock's Base Burglars 105 Club t-shirt that I wore every single day during that summer. You can Google it and see it on the old Google machine. Google Brock's Base Burglars 105 Club t-shirt. There's a picture of it on there. It was from Omni Sports, which was based, by the way, right where we are right now. Omni Sports, if you remember, in Creve Coeur, was right where we are now with our studios. Now, it was on the first floor. We're on the second floor. But anyway, the building was based right here on this piece of dirt that we sit on. So I'm going to go with Lou Brock. And Dennis Lamp and the Cubs. Yeah.
That was like Vince Carter in international competition with a dunk for you. Just bam.
Yeah.
Just hopping over the defender. All right. You ready?
Ready.
According to Baseball Reference, there are 3 players in the history of Major League Baseball to be named to 20 or more All-Star game rosters. Mays, Stan the Man, they're tied at 20. But who is the all-time leader with 21?
21? I got to go with the Hammer.
Okay.
One of the things that those guys had the advantage of is that they played in an era where there were 2 All-Star games played per year for like 4 or 5 years.
It was I remember this. It was 1959 through 1962. And the reason that they did it was that the players were trying to get more money for their pension fund. So that's why they did 2 All-Star games. And then the baseball folks thought it was too watered down. So that's why they took it away.
Yeah. So the name of Hank Aaron's book was I Had a Hammer. And I'm going to go with Hammer and Hank Aaron.
Matthew?
7:55.
Well, I'm going to go with us having a winner. In today's fight, no need for the tiebreaker. Is it Gordon in his first try taking down Randy Carricker? Or does Megamind roll on? Ring that bell.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
The winner and still champion of the fight, Randy Carricker.
The fight is presented by Golf Discount of St. Louis, with the most experienced club fitters in town. Why shop anywhere else?
Just win, baby.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Gordon. Randy Carricker beat you 4-2 in today's fight.
Hold on. What did Sonny Gray have to do with this?
Nothing. Absolutely
Randy.
You just wanted to play it.
wanted it.
Just wanted to
Called a
do
victory lap in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Gordon, sorry about that one. You lost to Randy.
Hey, I'll take the 2 points. I thought I went over.
There you go. Quick question, Gordon, just for my own edification. How old are you?
27.
All right, fair enough. I just want to, that's very good for some of those questions. Let's go through the questions and answers. Most well known for his number 27 jersey as a St. Louis Cardinal. Scott Rowland wore 16 for the duration of 2002 before making his switch.
I forgot for a minute.
Yeah, for just for a minute there. Only 2 lefty quarterbacks have won the Super Bowl as a starter. Steve Young did it. He's the easy one. Everyone knows him as a lefty, but it was in fact Ken Stabler, the first lefty to ever do it for the Oakland Raiders.
What was his nickname?
The Snake.
There we go. Good. Well done.
On this day did he throw Ghost to the Post, or was that a different? Was it a different quarterback? Okay, Ghost to the Post is one of my favorite things in like NFL history. I don't know why. Dave Casper is just such a sweet freaking name. On this day in Cardinals history, in 1979, the base burglar Lou Brock quite literally went all the way around the bend. Traded obviously in the Brock for Broglio trade, and then he gets 3,000 against the Chicago Cubs. He gets a single in the second inning, then he gets one in the fourth, and you guys locked it right in there off of the leg of the pitcher Dennis Lamp for a single. His second one of the day. He hits 3,000 against the Cubs. And according to Baseball Reference, 3 guys have gone to 20-plus All-Star Game rosters. It is, in fact, Willie Mays, Stan Musial, and Hank Aaron, who went to 21. So a 4-2 win for Randy Carricker in the fight today. Thank you again, Gordon, for joining the fight and joining the show.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Gordon.
Thank you.
Have a glass of scotch and chill out a little bit.
There we go.
Yeah,
After you win.
Yeah, it's a good way to chill out.
Yeah. 3,000 for Lou Brock.
Randy, who are the Cardinals playing today?
The Redlegs, I believe. If I'm not,
You're not going to use.
You would drop to tell me what what their mindset would be today.
I'm not
on to Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's where he was going with it.
That just happened. You ain't first, you're last.
We're on to Cincinnati.
There we go. That's what he was doing.
I just wanted your Belichick.
Okay, good. Yeah, you'll hear him a lot this year. He's a media guy now. Coming up next year on 101 ESPN, our buddy John Rooney, Cardinals radio voice, joins us here on the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Danny Mack for Stewart's American Mortgage on this Tuesday morning. If you're someone who is looking to purchase a home or refi, if you're looking to consolidate some of that ugly credit card debt, and maybe you don't know exactly what direction to go to in any of these things, hey, let's make it easy for you. Call Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage. He's going to help you every step of the way. If it's a new home you're looking to purchase, he'll get you to the closing table fast. How fast? Try 10 days. And he'll get you the best interest rate possible. He also has the bagel loan, and that can help you out too. So what is the bagel loan? If you borrow $200,000 or more, there's no underwriting fees, no appraisal fees, no title fees, no lender fees, and no closing costs. Stewie, he is your guy. He makes it so easy for you. Questions on rates, the industry, the trends, give Stewie a call. Here's his personal cell phone, 314-324-4440, 314-324-4440, or you can Google the bagel loan.
NMLS number 226715.
Grimsley, Danny Mack, Randy Carricker, the opening drive, 101 ESPN. Our friend John Rooney is having breakfast with some high school teammates from Western Missouri, but is kind enough to join us on 101 ESPN this morning as the Cardinals take on the Reds in the second of 3 tonight at the Great American Ballpark. John Rooney, thanks for your time this morning. How you doing?
Hey, it's good to be with you, and thank you for breaking up all the lies we've been telling.
So, with all those lies, is your recollection that you were the best player on that team?
Oh, no, I wasn't. I know better. You know, it's like Dirty Harry. Man's got to know his limitations.
Hey, last night, another disappointing game for the Cardinals. First of all, what are you seeing from Sonny Gray? He's had such great moments, but allows the 3 home runs last night.
Well, Sonny's had 2 out of 3 good outings, and anytime when you don't hit with runners in scoring position, you put a lot of pressure on your starting pitching. Maybe he's trying to be a little too fine, and then boom, boom, he's down 3-1. I think that happens with a lot of our guys where they try to hold it at bay. But I think you look at our run differential, it's not good. And I think the big reason is they're getting people on, but they're not getting them in. And I think that wears and tears on a pitching staff.
Rooney, it's so great talking to you this morning. Thank you so much for joining us. And as you mentioned there, I think the biggest thing is their inability and their struggles that we've seen at times this season with runners in scoring position. And they've been searching for a spark offensively for this group. Where can they find that spark for this team offensively?
I don't know. If we're all looking at Jordan Walker to be the answer, that's not going to be. He's here because that's a right-handed bat to put in there against left-handed pitching. And knock on wood, he will be that spark at some point because I think he has that kind of ability. But we've been going back and forth on this, even in the booth and on the bus, and talking about, well, at what point do you sacrifice defense to try to add to your offense to help the pitching staff out a little bit? And our results are, well, who do you get? And we saw the other night in Kansas City where there were 3 or 4 balls that should have been caught in the outfield that were not, just to try to get the bats in there. And if you don't have a Ciani who's on the injured list or Victor Scott who took his place in the outfield, then the outfield defense is not as good as it would be with those guys in there. So that's an argument you can go back and forth on. But Sajasi, where do you play him? And what do you do with Nolan Gorman? How much would it help him to go back to the minors at this point, where he hit those home runs last year, 29 of them, and he's closing in on 20 this year? He's always capable of running into one. So, yeah, it's kind of a maddening cycle that you go through and try to figure this out.
Hey, John, great to hear your voice and have you on the air here this morning on 101 ESPN. I think, by the way, you're headed to the Cardinals Hall of Fame. I just want to be on the record with that because you've done such a great job over the years, which leads me to this. What was it like all those years? I think fans would be curious about this, but all those years with you and Mike in the booth, what was that like?
Oh, my goodness, Dan. And Joe Buck told me this when I came to St. Louis in 2006. He said, you're going to have a ball. Because those years that Joe spent with Mike, Joe said those were some of the best and most fun years of his life and his career, much like it was with Tim McCarver. And, Dan, you know what that was like working with Tim.
Oh, yeah.
And the fun you guys had. But you never knew what Mike was going to say, how he was going to approach something. Mike Claiborne and I sat down there on the left side of the booth, and we laughed. We all laughed every day. And you came in there. We all laughed all the time. Good or bad, win or lose, Mike was going to have a good time. He included all of us. And Milton Berle was one of his favorite comedians.
Oh, he absolutely loved him for many specific reasons. Randy, take the next one.
Hey, John, one of the things that Mike always...
By the way, you never know what's going to come out of John Rooney's mouth, too, so let me just throw that at you.
One of the things that Mike always said, and I still utilize this, is... Big boy, if you're going to win, pitching. And that's ultimately what it comes down to. We can talk about hitting with runners in scoring position all we want and the Cardinal struggles. But if you can pitch, you can find a way to make runs and you can win. But if you can't pitch, you can't win.
And I think we're kind of finding that if the big three, if they can't be available at the end of the game, that it's kind of a struggle to see who's going to close out a game if Elsie's not available, or you get JoJo or you get Kittredge. They've been pretty rock solid for most of the year, and the Cardinals have been able to get a lot of saves and put games away. But when you don't hit with runners in scoring position, I do believe that puts a lot of stress on your pitching staff. And you look at the Braves, and you see those 14 years where they won the division. They pitched it, they caught it, and they found a way to score a run. And so Mike Shannon was absolutely right. The pitching and defense leads you to championships. And I think we have enough offense if we can ever get all three clicking together to make a run and take a shot at some postseason baseball. But it has to start pretty soon, guys, because you don't want to be jumping over 4 or 5 teams. It just can't be done if you're trying to get in as a wild card. And somebody's got to help us out with Milwaukee, but we got to help ourselves first by winning.
Jordan Walker, as we know, was brought up yesterday. As you mentioned earlier, they hope that maybe he can be one of the ways that they can provide some offensive spark for this team. We were discussing this earlier about Jordan Walker and what the Cardinals need to do with him moving forward. I know that they mentioned him being a platoon bat, but how do you think they can best utilize him?
Well, I think that's the way they're going to use him. And if he shows that he is getting the ball off the ground and he's hitting line drives and doing some damage, then he'll play more. I think he has to work his way into that. And it's like Victor Scott. He's out there to catch the ball, but we get in a late game situation, then they're going to have a pinch hitter for him because he's still learning the nooks and crannies of how to maneuver a big league season. And it's understandable, but I think he looks better this second time around. And we're hoping that Jordan Walker looks as good as he did when he came back last year and started putting some things together. He just has to relax and be Jordan Walker. And I think he'll be fine because he has a world of talent. But if we're looking for him to be the difference maker for this club altogether, I think that's a mistake because Goldie's got to hit. And when Gorman's in there, he has to do some damage. You can't rely on the others. Burleson has been really good this year, and Donovan has been pretty steady. And Mason Wynn's been unbelievable, but you can't count on those guys all the time.
John, I know you talk to Ali every single day, and you hustle and get down to the office, or you're talking to him on the bus or at the team hotel. Last night, he's ejected, and the strike zone was questionable, and then it just looked like an ejection out of frustration, and I'm sure that was probably the case after the second and the third inning. So, generally speaking, how is Ali holding up with some of the frustrations of this club?
He's doing very well, Dan, and I think he's one of the most grounded managers, coaches that I've ever covered. He keeps his head on. He's very well prepared, and managers have to handle so much stuff that's not necessarily baseball related for a ball game. They have to be a psychologist, scoutmaster. They have to hold a lot of hands after all these players have families and have personal lives and everything else that go into it that we're not privy to on a day-to-day basis before they get out there and start performing. And I think Ali does a really good balancing act there, and the players like playing for him. And those who said that he lost the clubhouse last year, I think that that's totally false. But John, I think he has a good handle on things.
Yeah, I agree with you. And talking to him, getting down there about once a homestand, I feel the exact same way. John Rooney, it's always great to hear your voice. We'll hear your voice tonight with Rick Horton on the Cardinal broadcast on KMOX, 5:40 start for the Cards and Reds, and we'll see you back here during the next homestand.
Sounds good, Randy. Thanks for having me on. And Danny, let's catch up soon.
I'd love to. Thanks, John. Great to have you on.
Bye.
Thanks, John. John Rooney, the radio voice of the Cardinals, with us on 101 ESPN.
He's always great and made you laugh a lot, Dan.
Yeah, it's a story I cannot tell on the air.
Well, you know that was going to be my follow-up is I feel like I need to know the story.
No, you don't.
Okay.
Maybe during the break I will, but not for public consumption. I got to be honest.
Fair enough.
Sorry, listeners.
Coming up, we've got Blues news. The Blues are making moves today. Next on 101 ESPN. Hey, it's Randy, and I've got news about selling your home. If you are in the market to sell your home, even considering selling your home, you need to get in touch with Gloria Liu. She is a reliable, experienced, and trusted agent. She's the best in town, and Gloria Liu, with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, is the best for you. Here's why you should call her at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888. It's because her name is her promise and says it all. Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria's mastered the home selling promise by guaranteeing upfront and in writing to sell your home at your agreed to price and time frame, or she'll buy it herself. That's guaranteed. Does your agent compare? Gloria is going to have solutions for everything that you want to do in terms of selling your home. If you want a fast sale with no hassles, Gloria has multiple cash offer programs. That's a great option to consider, with no showings and no costly repairs, and you pick the closing date, and you always get the highest cash offer to choose from in minutes from Gloria Liu. 314-325-6888 on the web at gloriahasthebuyers.com. As always, Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date. To learn more, visit gloriahasthebuyers.com. .905 in St. Louis. Time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Brooke, Dan, and Randy and the Blues have announced that they have signed 2 Edmonton Oilers players to offer sheets. Defenseman Philip Broberg and forward Dylan Holloway. Holloway has played in 89 games for the Oilers since entering the league in 22-23. Former first-rounder who played in 25 playoff games during Edmonton's journey to the Stanley Cup Finals this year. Broberg is a 23-year-old defenseman. He's played in 81 games for the Oilers over the last 3 years. He's been signed to a 2-year deal with an AAV of $4.580 million. Holloway has been signed to a 2-year deal at $2.29 million. Now, the Blues would have to give up compensation if Edmonton does not match one or both of the offers for these players, and they have 7 days to match. If the Blues do not or if the Oilers do not match, the Blues would have to give up second-round picks in exchange for them.
It makes some sense, don't you think?
Well, and especially when you're with a team that has cap issues like they do. They've got McDavid, they've got Draisaitl, they've got big money in Darnell Nurse. They still have to sign a couple of other players from their Stanley Cup run. Of course, they've got Zach Hyman, who's making pretty big money. They're kind of up against it in Edmonton in regards to the salary cap. So it just makes sense for the Blues to make both of these signings. And by the way, both total are, 4.5 plus basically 2.3, 4.6 and 2.3. So, $5, $6, $7 million. It's going to be very difficult for Edmonton to match both if they so desire.
And from the Blues' perspective, they get a little depth, which is something that they needed, I thought, on their blue line. I also think that it's catching lightning in a bottle. You might be able to get something out of these guys. The other part of this, too, today is that there was a trade between the Blues and the Penguins. Penguins received a second-round pick in 2026, third-round pick in 2025. The Blues get a second-round pick in 2025 and a fifth-round pick in 2026. So that makes some sense to deal picks as they get ready to potentially make these deals with those two players.
Yeah, and by the way, let me correct something I had said to clarify. Broberg, the defenseman, would require a second-round pick. Holloway, the forward, would require a third-round pick on the part of the Blues headed to Edmonton.
I was not expecting this whatsoever.
I don't think Edmonton was either.
No, that's a very fair assessment.
So I'll be interested to see, and this is the kind of young player that Doug Armstrong says the Blues have desired. By the way, these players, they have talent. Broberg was the 8th overall pick in the draft. Holloway was the 14th overall pick in the draft. I'm guessing that this was unexpected in Edmonton, too. Stan Bowman is their new general manager. He's dealt with cap issues in the past. He might just say, you know what, let's take the picks and let these guys walk, because I don't know that they'll, without making a move, without trading somebody, I don't know that Edmonton can keep these guys with these two contracts.
What's it tell you, too, about Krug? A little bit in his future and the injury and maybe getting some of that money back, or at least not going against the cap.
It's a great point.
That's something to think about, too.
Yeah, you might be thinking about a career ender, right?
Right.
Well, because at this point, he's not on LTIR. That's something that the 636 asked if that's an indication that that's something that's going to happen. I think that does tell you a lot about Krug and his status.
Right, and the LTIR occurs after you have your final roster set. So you can't put them on LTIR before camp or during camp. You have to set your roster and then put a player on long-term injury reserve.
But it shows that that's probably the path that is happening for him soon.
Right. So I'm very intrigued by this, and I know that the Blues were 23rd in confidence in the front office. I have immense confidence in Doug Armstrong and his ability to evaluate. And this is a great time of year to make these moves, too, when people have spent their money and don't expect a team. I'm sure that the Oilers didn't expect the Blues to sign these two guys to offer sheets.
No. A lot of stuff actually happening in hockey. I don't know if you guys saw yesterday, but did you see the report that the Maple Leafs are considering taking away the C from Tavares?
I think they're going to do that. I think that is going to happen. Austin Matthews will be named their captain.
That usually doesn't go well, though, when you take away the C from somebody.
No, but Matthews is the guy now, and I think that they just want to pacify him. And it's, I would guess that he's kind of become the leader of that team. And by the way, a lot of negative history, not in terms of playing ability, but for John Tavares, he doesn't lead many teams to playoff wins. And so maybe they're looking for somebody who's willing to drag that club into the fight.
Yep, makes some sense. And with the picks that have been swapped, like we said before, get a little depth here. You got a couple of first-round picks coming back in terms of guys that maybe haven't played to the level that they thought. Get a change of scenery. And, anytime that a player gets a change of scenery and new eyeballs on them and just a fresh start, clean slate, that seems to be a factor in their careers as they move forward.
So 7 days for Edmonton to match, and we'll just be on pins and needles until they make their decision.
Pins and needles.
And the Blues say they will have no further comments until the Oilers have made their decision as to whether to match. And cap friendly doesn't exist anymore. Did you guys know that the Washington Capitals, they bought they hired the guys that ran cap friendly. So cap friendly isn't around anymore.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I loved cap friendly. That
was great. So
very helpful information that they provided.
Spotrac now?
That's I go to there.
Best we got?
Yeah.
So let's see where Edmonton stands in terms of cap space right now. We'll figure it out.
Okay.
At some point.
We'll be on pins and needles waiting for your answer, Randy.
Matthew's checking it out. He's checking the Edmonton Oilers cap space. I don't know why. NHL. NHL and NFL are supposed to be different, but I'm clicking the NHL page, and it's the NFL's coming up, so that's not good. Team cap, here we go. Okay. Okay, total cap space. Here we go. For the Edmonton Oilers, going down. They don't have an awful lot, kids. They have minus $354,000. They don't have enough.
No.
So that's not good for them. So there you have it. That is today's that's your rush hour reset. Matthew, did you have something to add here?
Their fans are freaking out on Twitter. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
They're not happy about this one because they're sounding a lot like Cardinals fans because it's a lot of complaining about. Well, yeah, that's because this contract's dragging them down because this contract was dumb money and they don't really have any young players beyond these guys and like one other 25-year-old. So not a lot really coming up in the pipeline either. So fans are a little bit worried right now.
And I think they have to still sign Evan Bouchard. He's got a year left this year, so they still have to sign Evan Bouchard.
He's like their one young player who isn't locked up to a long-term contract.
Cards and Reds 5:40 tonight in Cincinnati, and St. Louis City SC plays Club Mexico tonight in the Leagues Cup in Carson, California.
No, that's not what it is.
What?
I'll leave Matthew
Club America.
Randy,
where's their home field?
It's in Mexico.
Thank you.
I also do want to throw out Andy Strickland on the X. Points out that Edmond also has $3 million in dead money with Campbell and Neal deals as well. So, they have put themselves behind the 8 ball, and Army pounced on them.
Love it.
I love that.
Like and I hope that they can. I'm trying to think of who they would get rid of. Who's a $7 million player? They don't have a $7 million. They'd have to get rid of. They can't get rid of Ekholm. He's at 6. They can't get rid of Hyman. He's 5.5. Can't get rid of Nugent Hopkins. Evander Kane at 5.1, but that's a long-term deal. That expires in 2026. I don't know where the move is for them. I kind of think that Edmonton is boxed in. This is great.
I thought it was going to be, 100%. But I was not expecting this to be an exciting offseason necessarily for the Blues. But so far, I kind of like some of the moves that he's made.
Here's the thing. Everybody in the NHL is at their cottage in Canada right now. Everybody is, except for Doug Armstrong.
Cottage in Canada.
He's working. Yeah, they are.
You think every single guy is at some cottage fishing and boating?
100%.
Little golf.
Yeah. You know that.
There's a lot of them.
The one thing they can do yesterday, it was announced that Evander Kane is undergoing surgery, so they can free up long-term IR money with Evander Kane's like $5 million contract. So that's some money, but I have a feeling that best case scenario, you could save Broberg, but then they would lose Callaway, or vice versa. So there's a scenario where they could save one, but I don't think there's literally a financial scenario without trading somebody that we wouldn't really think of right now where they could save both of them.
I think the other thing, too, Draisaitl is a free agent after this year.
Yeah.
So that's another big part of this, too. Got to keep him somehow.
Good job, Army. This is fun. I'm enjoying this a lot. Coming up here on 101 ESPN, could Aaron Judge go down as one of the best hitters ever? That's next on 101 ESPN.
It's time for a DraftKings at Casino Queen Redbird report on 101 ESPN.
Brooke Grimsley here for your Redbird report. The Cardinals dropped the opener in Cincinnati falling 6-1. Sonny Gray gave up 3 home runs, 2 to Spencer Steer, who drove in 5, while striking out 9 in 5 innings. Nolan Arenado's RBI single to drive in Wilson Contreras was the lone run of the night for the Cardinals. Yesterday, the Cardinals recalled Jordan Walker from Memphis before the game after placing Matt Carpenter on the injured list. Walker was 0 for 3 and drew a walk on Monday night. Eric Fetty will get the start for the Cardinals in Game 2 today. First pitch is at 5:40.
The Redbird report is presented by DraftKings at Casino Queen. Play, stay, dine at DraftKings at Casino Queen.
Hey, if you're looking for a great lunch today, head to the Fenton Barn Grill on Rudder Road in Fenton, just 2 minutes from the soccer park, and say hi to the feisty redhead Kelly, and you can say hi to Megan and Casey. The whole gang over there is so friendly and so much fun, and they make it a good experience when you go to the Fenton Barn Grill. But beyond the great experience, you're going to have great food. The food is actually stupendous at the Fenton Barn Grill. Best trash wings you'll ever have are at the Fenton Barn Grill. Order them up with an order of their signature golden sauce or perhaps their ranch and enjoy that fantastic appetizer. Then if you want to have a great burger, a great sandwich for lunch or happy hour or dinner, you can have that as well. It's a great place to stop by after a round of golf, or if you just want to hit somewhere for a happy hour, they have 6 different appetizers for $6 each at the Fenton Barn Grill. And when you go, tell them Randy sent you. They'll understand you're listening to a sports show, and hey, that means you're a sports person. They're sports people at the Fenton Barn Grill as well. I love it. You will love it when you go to the Fenton Barn Grill. Learn more at FentonBarnGrill.com. When you stop by, tell them Randy sent you. Is about to hit his 300th career home run. He has a 1.004 career OPS. Mike Trout is second in Major League Baseball among active players with a 991 OPS. So Judge about 10 OPS points ahead of Trout on a career basis. Aaron Judge's career 162-game average is 51 home runs. And you think about post-2004, once they started testing for steroids in baseball, I look at him, and I think he's going to be the best hitter of his era and might go down as one of the best hitters ever. Now, one of the things the Judge has had trouble with is staying healthy. But, man, when he's on the field, he hits. Right now, leads the major leagues with 42 home runs. Right now in the American League, number 2 in home runs is number 2 in home runs in the American League is Anthony Santander with Baltimore with 35. Judge is second in hitting. Bobby Witt hitting 347. Witt at 347. Judge at 329. And in RBIs, Judge leads the way with 107. Jose Ramirez of Cleveland with 97. So right now, as we sit here on August 13th, Aaron Judge still has a legitimate chance to win a Triple Crown.
I think so. I think that he is one of the best hitters that we are seeing currently, obviously right now. I think we were discussing this during the break. Some of the other exciting hitters that you're seeing right now, your guy, Luis Arraez, of course, is another good one. Great bat-to-ball skills. Mm-hmm. And then Bobby Witt Jr., he's just 25 years old. It'll be exciting to see what his career does. But when you're talking about just pure power hitter, Aaron Judge and what he's able to do, he's definitely going to finish up there as one of the greatest hitters of all time. I don't have a doubt about it.
I want you guys to listen to this. So I did some numbers, and this is what he's on pace for. 185 or more hits, 133 plus walks, 127 runs, 144 driven in a single MLB season. Okay, that's what he's on pace for. Mm-hmm. The only 2 players to ever do that, this is why he will be, I think, the MVP, of the American League. The only two players to do that are Babe Ruth, he did it 3 times, and Ted Williams back in 1949. That's it. That's a list. So that's what he's on pace for. 185 hits, 133 in walks, 127 runs, 144 runs batted in, and I'm not even talking about the home runs, which is he could very well get over 50 this year.
That'll be his third 50-plus home runs.
It's incredible. He will go down as one of the great hitters that ever played this game.
And that's always one of the big debates, too, is now who is the greatest hitter of all time? And I feel like you have to do it in different categories, too, of hitter and pure power hitter, and Judge in that category of being a pure power hitter. Where do you think that he ranks, or where he might finish ranking when his career is done with some of those guys? Like Barry Bonds, of course, we know. With steroid use, do you have to put those guys in a different category? Because we know that Judge is a completely clean hitter in that situation. Ken Griffey Jr. Now, Randy, I know you're pushing back on this, but it was never confirmed with Ken Griffey Jr.
No, and for whatever reason, nobody had real suspicions, even though the guy was tearing tendons off of bones on a regular basis, which is something that performance-enhancing guys use. But I'll throw him in there. I think Judge is a better hitter than Ken Griffey.
Albert Pujols?
I think Albert Pujols is one of the 5 best hitters of all time. And I would say that Albert in his era, from 2001 to 2021, 22, he was the best.
Best I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, not even close. But if Judge continues on this trajectory, and I've just mentioned the numbers that he did this season, which will go down as one of the great individual seasons ever if he reaches those milestones. So that's 300 home runs. Get him to 500, which is well within reach. Maybe even 550, 600. He goes down as one of the greatest hitters, power hitters too, ever. But he also hits for a decent average. He drives in runs. He gets on base. We look at OPS. What's his OPS this year, Randy?
1.004.
Yeah. You're going to look at OPS, his WAR, all those things that come into place with modern looks at players. He's going to go down as one of the greatest hitters that's ever played this game. And I don't know if he gets enough. I think the home runs take away from it. I don't think he gets enough credit for just how good of a hitter he is. And maybe that's because we don't watch him every day for the most part. But as a pure hitter, he should go down as one of the great hitters that ever played the game.
And do you also take into account, too, how much harder it is to hit in present day, especially with pitching? Because we've seen the numbers go down offensively across the board. But for Aaron Judge, he seems to be the outlier in this.
Yeah,
I felt that with Albert. Like, this is the hardest era to hit, period.
No doubt. Yeah, because of relief pitchers and because of guys throwing 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
There's very little doubt about that. When you look at the guys who right now are the active leaders in batting average, Altuve, not a home run hitter. Freeman, he doesn't hit home runs like Aaron Judge does.
Doubles machine.
Yeah. Mike Trout, who his career looks like it's been derailed. And then Trey Turner and Mookie Betts, Charlie Blackmon, Seager, McNeil, Bogarts, LeMahieu, Acuna, although this is a second knee injury now, a second ACL, and then Goldie and then Judge. Aaron Judge just stands out among that group because of the home runs that he hits, and he's got a 287 career batting average.
I think something, too, to take into account is where Albert hit his home runs at home. You know, playing at Busch Stadium, not an easy place to hit home runs. Playing out at Anaheim with the marine layer that would come in late at night, and so that made it kind of tough to hit home runs. Yankee Stadium, I'd be interested to go back and look at how many home runs, let's say, would be home runs in half the ballparks around Major League Baseball.
Man.
You know what I mean? So I wonder if it's benefited him to some extent, not all, but to some extent of where he plays, and maybe that's a factor too.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I don't think there's any doubt about it. By the way, all-time slugging percentage, Aaron Judge is at 600 career slugging percentage, and this would be the highest non-steroid slugging percentage if he maintains it this year. He's at 699 slug right now.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Since Ted Williams back in the 50s.
How about the list, though, I gave?
Yeah,
Babe
incredible.
Ruth, Ted Williams, Aaron Judge.
Pretty good company.
That'll be it. That's why he'll be, if you look at those numbers and start doing a historical comparison, even though I love Bobby Witt. I think he's an amazing player, but I think that's why. And the Yankees are good, and he's playing in New York, and he's just a huge, imposing figure. All those things kind of lead into him getting the votes, I would think, for MVP.
Yeah, I think he has to win it.
Yeah, way better slugger. Have you guys seen Aaron Judge in person?
Oh, yeah. He's huge.
Yeah.
He didn't. I mean, he's Jordan Walker on a baseball field.
Yeah, he's actually
a little bit bigger.
6'8".
Yeah, he's just slightly bigger, a little taller, but yeah, he is a massive human being. And the
Looks
thing
like
that
a football player.
he
for
does,
Sure.
the things that's amazing is that he can play center field. He's a good enough athlete and can run well enough to go play center field.
Yeah,
so it's incredible.
It's amazing. That's Dan. That's Brooke. I'm Randy. Coming up here on 101 ESPN, the NFL preseason got underway, and we got a chance to finally see the rookie quarterback. So who's going to the Hall of Fame? That's next on 101 ESPN. Hey, if you are looking for a great place to make money and save money on your groceries, then you need to head to Schnucks. You know, I'm always talking about how great the rewards program at Schnucks is, and now it's even better because they just released new perks to make it even more personalized. They have personal double points days, and that makes earning rewards easier and faster. Just keep an eye on the rewards app for your personal double points day coupon, and once you clip it, you can use it to get double points on your entire purchase. So instead of your usual 2% back, you're going to get 4% back in Schnucks rewards to use on a future purchase. You get to choose when to use the coupon, and you can apply it the next time you do a stock up and shop so you can really get bang for your buck. This is an in-app coupon, so be sure to download the Schnucks Rewards app and check your digital coupons, and that's where you'll find this coupon where it periodically pops up. Download the Schnucks Rewards app today and look out for those personal double points days. Get 4% rather than 2% with your Schnucks Rewards app.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cardinals fall yesterday to the Reds 6-1. Back in action today, 5:40 first pitch. It'll be Eric Fetty facing off against the righty for the Reds, Hunter Green. You want to hear more Cardinals talk? You can check out the Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers podcast today as I talked it over with Cardinals broadcaster John Rooney. Also, St. Louis City back in action. Round of 16 tonight in the League's Cup, facing off against Club America. You can also check out our interview with Kevin Egan on the Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers podcast, breaking down that matchup. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
All right, we're fired up about some of the rookie quarterbacks in the NFL. Drake May is not one of them. The Patriots' first-round draft pick just went 2 of 3 for 19 yards and didn't throw a touchdown or an interception for the Patriots as they lost to the Panthers by a score of 17-3. But there were some interesting, if not notable, performances on the part of some of the rookie quarterbacks. And we're going to run down the list here and tell you who we think should be in the Hall of Fame. And well,
no, please don't put that on us.
How about none of them?
Okay, not yet?
No, not yet.
How about Bo Nix going 15 of 21 for 125 and a touchdown for the Denver Broncos?
Seems fine. Yeah, it seems just fine. I don't know if I'm really bought into everything that the Broncos are doing right now, but maybe that's because of everything that happened last year. I know that they're starting over new, but I don't know. I don't know if I can buy into what they're doing. It's also really hard to really buy into anything with the preseason. I don't know if you guys saw with Bill Belichick the other day where he did an interview about how Tom Brady took preseason so seriously and that he thinks that a lot more of these younger quarterbacks that are coming up should as well, which I'm sure that's more of a team decision too, but it's really hard to gauge what you're expecting to see from any of these teams so early on.
I'm with you. I mean, they're not seeing various schemes defensively.
No.
Not seeing the best defenders.
Nope.
That's another thing. They're using a simplified game plan because there isn't a ton of plays that are implemented offensively yet. They're trying to make it really simple for these guys. I think I might pay attention more to the joint practices that go into what's up-tempo, as long as there's no fights. But the mental aspect, the conditioning standpoint can help, I think, with everybody on the field. But you're going to see a lot of different coverages in those. And they're going to play about 30, 40 snaps. And that's when I think you can really see what's happening with the development of some of these players.
The one thing that you can see in games, if they let them throw, is arm strength and accuracy. Michael Penix Jr., 9 of 16 for 104. He wasn't exactly lighting it up. We mentioned Drake May. I'm intrigued to see.
Drake May can hand the ball off. I'm telling you now. He can really hand the ball off.
Yeah, he can, and that's what they want to do. One of the other the quarterbacks that drew a lot of attention over the weekend was Jaden Daniels. He was 2 of 3 for 45 yards, averaged 15 yards per completion. We don't really know anything about Jaden Daniels now, anything more than we knew before he played that game.
Now, that completion, I'd give him credit. He checked down. They had one play that was there, and he said, nope, not going to do it. I'm going to check down. Made a strong throw. Showed his wheels a little bit on the touchdown, so we know he can run a little bit. I guess the guy for me is the number 1 overall pick. Caleb Williams, when he did the no-look pass. Yeah. That was awesome.
4 of 7 for 95 for Williams.
Yeah, and he threw a couple of bullets in there in coverage. But I guess it's really tough, though, to see. After C.J. Stroud, I guess you throw out everything out the window that you can find somebody that starts from day one and is elite, and he's elite. But it's just, for me, it's just so hard to be able to break a guy down and say, well, he's going to be good at this point because you played one game and you're not seeing a lot of coverages.
Aside from Nix, who's basically all Denver has, so they've got Jared Stidham and the guy who's best friends with his mom's best friend. But then you got J.J. McCarthy. Zach Wilson, yeah, my favorite. I wasn't going to mention the name, but J.J. McCarthy was 11 of 17 for 188, 11.1 average, 2 touchdowns and a pick. I could see J.J. McCarthy beating out Sam Darnold in Minnesota to be the starter there.
I could too, and he's only 21 when he was drafted.
Yeah.
That was it, and the throw that impressed a lot of people is that he threw it second level, he threw it on the run, and he threw it off balance. And if you can make plays like that, that's going to garner a lot of attention.
I think that he was one of the ones that if you are kind of paying attention and saying, this guy stood out to me, he's one. I think Jaden Daniels, to your point, that deep pass to Brown, I thought was pretty impressive. Now, I do have some concerns about the Commanders and how thin their offensive line is due to injuries at tackle, but that's something that you'll have to address going on to the season. I know that we look at the quarterbacks a lot, but is there anything else that you guys pay attention to, especially for fantasy purposes? I'm looking at the running backs a lot during the preseason.
Yeah, I think that's I think if I have one of the top 5 picks in our draft, our 101 ESPN draft, I'm going to take Jahmyr Gibbs because he's fantastic.
You don't want to do that.
Why, Brooke?
He got injured at practice. Hamstring issue, possibly could be something more, which is the fear right now. So that is not great for Jahmyr Gibbs at this moment.
Darn it.
Do you guys get into it, though? I do get into watching these QBs. I don't put a lot of stock into it, but I do enjoy it. I enjoy seeing the guys that were just drafted within the last couple of months and seeing what they do. I do get enjoyment out of watching it. I just don't buy into it.
But to you guys' point, these are glorified practices. This is not really a preseason football game. It's practice. And we'll even have these in week 1 of the season. We won't start seeing real NFL games until weeks 2, 3, 4.
You think so?
Yeah,
even week 1, huh?
Belichick started that because you have 3 preseason games. And right now, this is all evaluation. And so you're implementing things after you get started in the regular season now. And it'll get more pronounced once they go to no preseason games in the 18-game schedule.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited for fantasy football. I know that we have our league this year, so we're just going to scout it out.
It's going to be quite interesting.
No, hopefully less tension this year? Question mark.
I think so.
Who's the number 1 overall pick?
You know, people say that Christian McCaffrey should not be. Experts say that he should not be. And apparently a lot of people are going towards receivers, whether it's Jefferson or whomever. I think I'm still on the running back thing. I think I would go with McCaffrey.
I went with McCaffrey last year, and he helped me a lot.
Yeah.
But he's so banged up. I mean, he gets hit every single play. I just wonder if he can survive the season. That would be my only critical thought of not taking him number 1 overall. But he touches the ball in every different facet of the game. He's going to get you a bunch of touchdowns. I don't know, man. I'd probably go with him.
Handcuff him to Cody Schrader and you're golden.
There you go. Does Cody Schrader make the 49ers roster? Practice squad, I'd say.
I think he makes the team in some capacity.
Yeah, they took a running back in the 4th round, though, that they really like, a fast running back. And they brought back Matt Breida last week. So I think that Cody's probably a practice squad guy on the outside looking in.
I want to get a fantasy football guy on. Is there somebody good that we can get on for a segment?
Yeah, we can.
I need to write down what he says. Or her.
Yeah, Tommy Pham.
Maybe we should.
Oh, no.
Tommy's good. Tommy Edmond.
He'd be another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can find him.
These guys take that stuff serious, man.
Really seriously. So, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah,
we can.
They take it really seriously.
We can get our old buddy Tristan Cockcroft. We'll get him from ESPN.com.
All right. So we doing it tomorrow?
I don't know if we'll do it that quickly.
Okay.
We'll do it next week.
Wait till it gets closer to the regular season.
We'll do something next week with it.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
I need help.
You got it. I think tomorrow's... We could get John Denton tomorrow. I think he wants to come on. You want to get Dents? Was he playing pickleball in Cincinnati?
He was. He plays pickleball everywhere.
He's
anywhere that there's a pickleball court, you will find John Denton.
That's
a gamer.
That's an addiction.
It is for him.
He's a gamer, man.
He absolutely loves it and is highly competitive, as we've all learned.
Coming up on 101 ESPN, we've got Rocc and Roll, and I think we're giving away tickets for... you know what we should know is maybe you'll be able to meet the new Blues. Hopefully they'll be here, and the Oilers won't match. But you can meet the new Blues by joining 101 ESPN for the 2nd annual Blues and Brews on Friday evening, September 20th at the Anheuser-Busch Brewery. Get fired up for the blues season at this outdoor street party featuring live music from country music star Nat Stell and St. Louis's own Charles Glenn Group, plus appearances by Blues players and alumni, food trucks, 101 ESPN giveaways, and more. Tickets just $20, and they're on sale now. Learn more at 101ESPN.com. We're giving away Cardinal tickets coming up, though, for the Bud Bash next week. That's next before Rock and Roll on 101 ESPN.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke here for Universal Windows Direct. The heat has arrived and it is sticking around for a little bit longer, so do not cool off the outside this year. Call my guys over at Universal Windows Direct. While we're all excited for it to be warm outside, I love this time of year. I love summertime. I'm never excited though to see the energy bill that comes with it, and that's where Universal comes in handy. Their windows can actually make a difference and help with energy efficiency. Their windows feature super spacer technology, which helps keep the edge of the glass warmer, holds the window seal longer, and makes your windows last up to 5 times longer than other window systems. So your windows from Universal perform better and they last longer. Schedule your free in-home estimate today, and for every 2 windows you buy, get the next 2 for free, plus 0% financing for 36 months. That's 3 years. Restrictions apply. Universal Windows Direct backs it all up with a true lifetime warranty as long as you own the home, and a 20-year warranty to the next homeowner. Mention my name and get an additional $250 off your next project. Go to UWD.com. That's UWD.com, and like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
And roll.
Let's rock. Let's rock today.
Hey, 101 ESPN is your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to next Tuesday night's Budweiser Bash game. Cardinals and Brewers. Next week's Bud Bash game features a limited edition Woody Williams bobblehead, and you can get all the details on this season's series of Budweiser Bash Cardinals games now at Cardinals.com/promotions. But you can win that 4-pack of tickets right now by texting into 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO to win Budweiser Bash tickets for the Cardinals and Brewers on Tuesday, August 20th. All you need to do is answer Matthew Roccio's question correctly and be texter number, let's say 44.
All right, it's funny you say 44. I'm rolling off a question from the fight. The first question on the fight was, what was Scott Rowland's number when he first got traded to St. Louis before he switched to 27? Mm-hmm. So my question for you is, what team did Scott Rowland play for when he wore number 33?
Good one.
What team did Scott Rowland play for when he wore the jersey number 33?
There we go. That is the question. You need to be texter number 34 and answer what team he played for when he wore number 33.
There you go. I like that. It worked out perfectly.
There we go. What do you got on Rock and Roll?
Well, something that jumped out to me, we were talking a little bit about the NFL, some things from preseason. Obviously, the play on the field isn't, like we were saying, you can't take a ton from what's actually happening on the field. But one thing I am going to go ahead and take away from the NFL's first week of preseason is the new kickoff rules and some of the things we're getting from there. 82% of kicks were returned as opposed to 22% during the NFL season in 2023. We saw four returns of 45 yards, and there were 3 super touchdowns touchbacks, which is where the team gets to go all the way up to the 40. And also because of a weird job kind of screwing up the return, the Chiefs actually put themselves in a really bad field position and actually got a safety against them at some point. So we are seeing, at least right now, and I feel like this is the most conservative version of the kickoff returns we're going to be seeing because special teams coaches are not going to be using any of their special stuff during the preseason. We're seeing a very conservative sample size, and yet even that sample is telling me we're going to get a lot more excitement in the kickoff. So far, it looks like the NFL's rule is going to work.
Thank you, XFL.
Yeah, damn right.
Should they be giving credit to the XFL?
Yes. Yeah.
Or at least acknowledging it.
The NBA always sits back and goes, appreciate you, ABA. Thank you for dying on the vine and us picking the 2 or 3 good olives before you did. Like, NBA always gives credit for that.
Yeah. So, and I want to see more returns. I was to the point previously last year where I thought they should just get rid of kickoffs and have the team start at their own 25. If we're going to be kicking it out of the end zone, what are we doing? Why are we bothering?
Yeah.
Just save the time and have the team start at their 25. So now you actually bring special teams and return guys back into the game.
Honest question, I don't know the answer. You guys will probably know. You follow it a lot closer than I do. I am just a casual observer. But wouldn't you think, like last year, what's the point of carrying special teams specific players?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now you have to.
Right.
So it may shorten your roster a little bit on how you want to appeal to your special teams. So I wonder now if you have to do more of the idea that we need special teams guys to make sure that we cover that aspect of the game.
Right. And you go back to the 99 Rams, where they had Keith Crawford, a wide receiver, basically, who was only a special teamer. Jeff Robinson was basically a long snapper.
Now, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Long snapper, I got.
But these guys were just committed to special teams. Tony Horn, he was their 5th wide receiver, and they used 4. Oz he did a lot of different things. But they had Lorenzo Styles, number 51, linebacker. At that time, Leonard Little was just a special teams player. You had people whose specific job was special teams, and they were being prepared for the following year. And you haven't had the necessity for that over the last few years in the NFL.
Imagine, Randy, we never would have known who Robert Quinn was if he wasn't out there on the punt block team.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry, that was a little shot I had to take at Jeff Fisher. I think it shortens the roster, but it also, conversely, it's kind of like an addition by subtraction thing. It shortens the roster, but in a way, it lengthens opportunity because now you have those weird gadget players. I think you've seen people try it. Maybe it's the Chiefs getting that the rugby guy. Maybe it's teams going for a player that they could put in a returning capacity that you wouldn't think about using in the last 5 or 6 years. I know it's not going to happen, but people did throw out the Steelers using Justin Fields as a returner if he's not their starting quarterback. It's not going to happen, but the idea that you create options for non-traditional football players to find their space onto NFL rosters, that's always a good thing. And I think just back to the fact that you can have guys like Matthew Slater who matter is a good thing. Having a guy like that who carves out a almost 10-year NFL career as a special teamer, that's a good thing for the game. It's a good thing for the economics of the game.
Lendon Fletcher was a demon on the wedge. I miss the wedge.
Do you remember Terrell Davis in one of the first plays in his preseason time with the Denver Broncos and the hit? I think they're playing in Japan, and he goes down on a punt coverage and just annihilates the returner. And they said that was one of the plays that got him immediately on the map.
Oh, wow.
For what they were doing.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
Kerry Davis, one of his proudest videos is the opening kickoff of the 2008 AFC Championship game. For opening kickoff, where he leveled a member of the Ravens. And then they had to go to commercial because the guy was hurt, and then they come back and they show CD's block. It was unbelievable, or a hit. It was unbelievable.
CD, Super Bowl champ.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Wouldn't want to mess with him.
No,
especially coming down full speed. Yeah. I'm getting the hell out of the way.
Even now, today.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I don't want to piss him off.
So they maybe, it looks like they fixed kickoffs. Now they just need to, finally fix overtime.
Overtime's good.
I still think I just want college overtime.
Oh,
fair chance on both sides.
Not just that. I just think after you get past the first 2 or 3 possessions, just turn it into kind of like a one play thing. Like just trade 2-point conversions until you figure it out. I like that. I like that kind of that quick
no
back
ties
and forth.
Possible.
Yeah, no ties possible. Quick back and forth kind of way. I mean, you essentially take one of the only fun things about vacuum is that you can in soccer, which is penalty kicks, and you extrapolate to football, and it's just offense, defense going at it for one play, trying to get into the end zone. I mean, that's all. When is that not fun? I don't care if it's kind of kitschy. It's fun.
I actually think, and I mentioned this before, I prefer now watching SEC football to the NFL. I think the action in the SEC is greater than the action in a typical NFL game.
Have you seen the top 10 already that came out, the AP?
Yeah.
SEC is well represented.
Yeah.
It is.
So, I mean, and the thing that fascinates me is it's literally the top 10 is 9 teams from the Big Ten and SEC, and then 1 team from the ACC, which just tells me
Notre Dame was 7th.
Notre Dame is an independent, but obviously, my thought process going towards how is this going to work out with there being 4 gimmies for conference champions in the playoff, and it's just like some conference is going to. Maybe even 2 conferences are going to slip into the top 4, throw a wrench. I think it's going to be fascinating. BK has been talking about this a lot. I think in the next 5 years, or the first 5 years of this 12-team playoff, the conversation over whether or not conference championships remain or disappear because of that aspect of the playoff, I think it's going to be the biggest talking point. And looking at that ranking, my mind went straight to, man, conference championship games are either going to throw a huge wrench or it's going to be like a perfect deciding factor at the very end. But honestly, I'm leaning towards the fact that conference champions are going to mess everything up, and it's going to cause a lot of problems.
I look forward to it.
I am too. And here's the other part of it, is that the conferences, Big Ten, SEC, Big 12, ACC, they're giving up the money that they generate from television for a conference championship game.
True.
So any problems that might cause in a playoff will be offset by the amount of money they're making from their conference championship games.
The SEC is going to be so competitive this year where you're going to have a lot of really good teams in the SEC possibly finish with 7 or 8 wins. This is why I think because of the schedule for Mizzou, they have to win 10 or more.
I agree. And I think that if they lose, the Texas A&M one we talked about is the scary one. But you get Texas A&M and Alabama, and after that, you don't get any more gimmies. I don't think even in the SEC, I don't think a 3-loss team is going to be in the playoff.
SEC 3-loss team? Nope, I don't think so either. I agree with you.
So you better, like you said, Brooke, you can't afford to lose more than 2.
That's probably going to be the debate we end up coming in here on Monday is, did the 9-3 team that finished 13th overall deserve it more than the 10-2 team with a softer schedule who finished 10th? That's going to be the big question, I think.
Yeah. And head-to-head, I think, will play a role with the committee.
I have a question for Rocc.
Yes, sir.
So I got a lot of friends asking about the game tonight and what direction they should go on a betting line.
This is St. Louis City SC.
I actually had that up in front of me. It's St. Louis City SC is plus 360 to win.
Plus 360. Ooh.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I like how it hit you, then it registered, then you reacted, and that's exactly how you should.
Okay.
Plus 368 is not great. Plus 230 to draw even.
Yeah.
And that's obviously would be for the first 90 because then it would go into penalty kicks.
Okay, so if you would have been broadcasting while Pete Rose was managing, and he would have given you betting tips while you visited him in his office, would you have used them?
100%. Yeah, without hesitation.
Yeah, me too.
I mean,
why not? It's free. Basically, he's giving you free money. Yeah,
it's insider information. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's free money.
Have you guys seen the documentary on HBO?
No, a Rose documentary?
Yeah, it's fabulous. I mean, it's so good. And
did he gamble?
He did. Yeah, and he admits it. Yeah, he admits it, wrote it in a book, admitted it. Yeah.
Wrote it on baseballs.
Yeah, he has. He's made a lot of money from signing that name.
I wonder if he made more from signing as a non-Hall of Famer than as a Hall of Famer.
Ooh, that's a good question. All-time hits leader with the HOF behind it. Or you put the number of hits that he had. I don't know. That's a good question, though, because that ball is so unique with being a non-Hall of Famer, but yet being the hit king.
Well, and he set up in Vegas. He set up in Cooperstown.
Right.
He's always been able to sell that autograph.
The biggest backer for him to get into the Hall of Fame was Joe Morgan. Those two are very close, and Joe Morgan had a big voice in Cooperstown and with the Baseball Hall of Fame and didn't get him in.
And Johnny Bench was staunchly against him getting into the Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah, he was not a fan, know, of trying to get him in.
Yeah.
And I would think if guys from the Big Red Machine got behind him, and so much time has passed, now Joe is no longer with us, but there are some others that are still here. I wonder if he gets in. I think Rose is 81 or 82 now. I don't know. He did meet with Rob Manfred. I don't know. At this point, just put him in.
Yeah, Manfred's a Seelig guy, though. I don't think he'll.
Yeah, Seelig was staunch in not putting him in.
Yeah, that was personal with Seelig because he thought Bart Giamatti died because of Rose.
Exactly.
Yeah. Great job today by our producer, audio, video engineer, the one, the only Matthew Rocc. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, and congratulations to our ticket winner, by the way. 2008-2009, Scott Rowland wore 33 for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Oh, there we go.
I
Toronto.
knew that
Congratulations. And you didn't say it.
Nope. Didn't come
You
out
didn't
and
reveal
say
it. Yes.
Thank you. I didn't give it away early.
Brooke, did you have fun today?
Yes.
Good. We got a texter that's a jerk, but that's all right.
Kick rocks.
Only one. Everybody else is nice.
For the most part, yeah, they're great.
Yeah, good.
They're
Dan,
great.
You were awesome. Thank
you too, sir.
Hey, we appreciate you tuning in, texting in, and being a part of the show. For all of us, till tomorrow morning at 7. Have a fabulous Taco Tuesday, St. Louis.